Freaking out, man. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men in power want? More power.
My name is luca-Zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a drill. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Here we go, guys. Another Sunday, another show. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-Zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and on United States.FM network. We have a very important show today. I think every show is important. I always try to bring you facts and information to make accurate decisions. As you know, I have no party allegiance. When I became an American in 2005, I didn't pledge allegiance to the Republican Party or to the Democrat Party or Libertarian Party or to a man or to a woman. No. I'm here as a new American who pledged allegiance to this country, to its Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. And more important, also to honesty. I'm not perfect, I'm not a saint, but I tell you, I think we need to try to try to get the best we can, because to have a constitution, if people do not have a basic ethics or morals, it's not going to work. So, as I said, even I'm not perfect, I tell you, when it comes to public business, I'm trying to do my best to be objective, and I'm not here to have friends. I don't have this type of, stardom, craving to be friend with the next politicians. Honestly, I couldn't care less. And this is my duty today also, as even I'm not a journalist, I'm just a regular, host of a talk radio show, to try to be honest as possible. That's why I became an independent, that I want to bring here the voices of every politician, every elected officials who wants to run for office or who's already in office, and I want to ask them real questions. I'm not going to be here kissing their butts. And more important, I want to be sure that you, listeners, have the opportunity to know the truth, or at least to know the facts, and then you make up your mind. That's why I also left the Republican Party, because I don't even want to sound like I have any party. I have no party allegiance. My only allegiance is to the truth. My only allegiance to the American people and to its constitution, our Constitution. Now, election time is coming. I'm from Mojave County, Arizona. And of course, we have an important election cycle here for the U.S. Senate. Senator McCain is running for election. I used to expose McCain when nobody really, when people used to be still supporting him, 2008, 2009, we were kind of a small group here, but still, I don't care. Now the point, finally, most of the people start to see the light. McCain is a globalist. He's a CFR member. It's completely everything but we're supposed to have if you believe in sovereignty, in constitution, and individual rights. This guy is a fascist. Is a puppet of the military-industrial complex. And I stop there because I'm not going to say more, because I have my guest now. He's going to say more. But this is not just about McCain. This is about also the type of mafia mentality of the Republican Party, that I really noticed that when we have somebody running against like McCain, they don't let other voices come out, but they just decide before even the election who is going to be the next person. And then they try to shut down everybody else. For example, we have Senator Kelli Ward, Arizona State Senator Kelli Ward, that she's running against McCain. But for some reasons, she does not want to have any debate or any forum, participate to any forum where other candidates are there. And you know what? I know many of you may like Kelli Ward. And guess what? I used to like her too when at the beginning she started it. I wanted to give her hope. I wanted to give her credit. I was really hoping that she could be the right person for the work. I have no agenda, as I said. But when I start to see that her voting records, and that's what I'm counting facts on. I'm not just basing on friendships or opinions. I go by the voting records. And unfortunately also their attitude and their ethics and pretty much their behavior, it wasn't something that I would be proud, but we will talk more about it. And then when I find out that she does not want to participate to open forums where other candidates running for the Republican Party, they want to have a debate, I feel very bad about it. That's why I want to say, first of all, today's show, I want to invite again, I already invited officially through her channels, Kelli Ward, Senator Kelli Ward, on the show. I know that probably she won't be here, but I still open the door for her. And of course, today I have one of the other candidates that normally the media don't want to talk too much about it, and especially the Republican Party don't let talk too much about it. And is a gentleman that I've really been following a lot, and I think he has a lot of great points. And more important, he did his homework in learning about more what Senator Kelli Ward is about, her voting record. His name is Clair Van Steenwyk. Hopefully I did it right. Claire, are you there?
I'm here. How are you today?
Please, very good. Do me a favor. Say it again, your last name, just to be sure I got it down right for the public.
Van Steenwyk.
Van Steenwyk. Perfect. Listen, you're running for U.S. Senate against, of course, McCain, but also you're not the only candidate. I mean, there's also Arizona Senator Kelli Ward running for office. I want to give you the floor, first of all, now. Introduce yourself. What is your background? And let's start to talk why people should vote for you. What really do you have to offer? Go ahead.
My background. I'm a retired business executive from the food industry in California. I was in the basic food industry, marketing and sales and distribution. I did that from the time I was younger, actually. I started working in dairies when I was a kid, washing bottles and selling bottled milk, actually, as well as delivering milk door to door. I worked there. I worked in other industries, steel industry, oil industry, etc. But I settled in the food business. We did quite well there. I started a couple businesses of my own and sold them. I also owned a property management and development company, and I owned an antique business along with my wife, both a storefront and internet system. We also did an outreach work in California on Hollywood Boulevard, Skid Row. We ran a halfway house, Christian coffee house, and did an outreach to Mexico, to a small village there, bringing food, clothing, and the gospel of Christ to those people. We had radio. We went into the radio after I retired from my regular job. I was asked to do some radio shows, so we did. We did that for about almost 10 years in California, here in Arizona, as well as Florida and Idaho. I had a political talk show here in Phoenix. We did about, I'd say, the majority of people that ran statewide were on our shows, as well as those who ran for federal office. We also had local people, mayors, city councilmen, legislators, etc. We did a fundraiser for the vets at the Wigwam a few years ago. We also held a lot of rallies at the state capitol here on Second Amendment rights, Feet to the Fire, Tea Party rallies, etc. Spoke at a lot of tea parties. That's basically what I've done. I've been active in the GOP since I was a kid. I worked on the Dwight Eisenhower campaign when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
Just handing out, little president books door to door, but it got me started, and I've been active in politics ever since. I've always enjoyed politics. It's just, to me, I wish they really taught civics in school now so kids could really understand the importance and the responsibility of voting. And I try to educate voters when I have my radio show and even now when I speak, so they understand the real obligation they have to vote for the right people to keep our country safe, because our military does a wonderful job of keeping us safe, but our elected officials do a terrible job of not only not keeping us safe, but putting us farther into slavery with the increased debts and regulations that they put us on a daily basis. That gives you kind of in a nutshell where I'm at on a lot of things.
Perfect. And I agree with you. Politics is not an abstract concept. Unfortunately, we've been trained by the system to do not get involved. At least apathy is one of the biggest weapons against us, because they think that, politics is just some abstract concept. If you ask to the regular young person out there, I don't want to get involved in politics. Guess what? Politics means the food that you're allowed to eat, the freedom that you're going to lose, the right that you have to own property, how much of your money you're going to be confiscated every year by the government. I mean, that's politics, means the way you're going to live as a human being or as a slave. That comes down to right now. It's on the open. Now, back to your campaign. First of all, please give us your website so people can start to check you out while we're talking. Go ahead.
You can reach my website at vanussenate.com or even vote4van.com. We have two ways of getting there. And you can, once you're there, you can go to the Facebook pages we have and other things. You have a complete, absolute website there. We've got the issues. You've got the whole history about me, issues. There's a facts section where people actually sent me questions and I answered them. We have a blog site on it. We have a statistic calendar counting the amount of debt the state's going into or the country's going into daily. We also have the counter there for illegals and the cost of them on a daily basis. We also have our opponents' records posted on there and a contact button, a donate button, and our events page, of course. But it's a pretty thorough website, and it's also friendly to voters because I encourage comments and input. A lot of the policies I've come up with on the 9 issues I've posted, a lot of that came from people just like you and me. You discuss enough issues with enough people, and you can form ideas and opinions and check them out and see if they'll work. That's what I did in business. I ran companies that you had to fix and upgrade constantly, and this is the same thing. You can't just say, we're going to lock the border down and then we'll figure something out later. You better have a whole policy system figured out, or you're going to lock the border down, maybe, doubtfully, if most people get in office, and we're going to have the same problem within the country that we have now because nobody really wants to deal with the illegals that are here, both the ones who came illegally and the ones who've overstayed either H-1B or H-2B visas or just overstayed visitor visas. There's got to be a formulation to do this, and Congress is the body that's regulated by the Constitution that's supposed to do it. In fact, it's very clear in the Constitution that you're supposed to have a uniform rule of naturalization, and part of naturalization is immigration.
Yeah.
And our immigration policy is all over the map. And every private group and agency that wants to have a forum, especially the Chamber of Commerce, has the ear of some politician in Washington.
Claire, this is the reality that we are living now, that I really believe that we are not anymore under Constitution, but we are under corporatism, and of course the corporations and the international bankers, they are dictating to our government, so they are buying them out directly, and they are planning for a new stage of humanity. I'm sure you're familiar with the word global government. So that's what their goal. I mean, they to create global government, they cannot let borders stay up. That's why this is not happening by accident. It's not happening just in America. It's happening everywhere. And that's why I think people like McCain, Senator McCain, I hope everybody understands that this member, this senator, as also member of the CFR, Council of Foreign Relations, that I'm sure that, there was a lot, I don't know, I'm sure you're familiar about the Council of Foreign Relations, but I would like to remind former Senator Goldwater, he wrote a book with no apology, and I'm just trying to paraphrase it. The Council of Foreign Relations is an international organization with a goal to destroy American sovereignty and create a global government. So this is a fact. So I don't want to spend too much time about McCain because at this point, honestly, if people don't understand who Senator McCain is, you need to be lobotomized or you need to get some medication. I mean, nothing we can do here. We're not miracles maker, okay? But I would like to talk more.
John McCain is a globalist. He's also a pawn of the military-industrial complex.
Exactly. So I would like to focus more on give you the opportunity to talk about the voting records of the other 2 candidates, especially Senator Kelli Ward, that normally, I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, she does not really want to appear in forums when you talk. Is it true or not, first of all?
No, that's true. The Scottsdale Tea Party sent an invitation to myself, Kelli Ward, John McCain, and Mr. Molesky, and invited all of us to come to a forum there to speak. She clearly stated in her response that she would not be attending that forum or any other forum. Only forum she would come and speak at would be either with Senator McCain there or by herself.
Wow. The new queen. Listen, I want to say something about Senator Kelli Ward. I have no agenda with anybody, and I wish she was, and she could be the right person, because I don't care. But unfortunately, I need to look at facts, and there are a lot of evidence, by the way, that you did a great job as homework based on voting records that really show that she has so much to hide, and she's hiding a lot. At least she's different from what she's tried to portray herself. For me, my personal experience I had, first of all, I tell you, I have no respect with somebody that is a fake, okay? And I realize that she has a lot of attitude, that she's just another politician in training. And when I saw the situation, it's not just about the weather modification meeting that we had here in Kingman a couple of years ago, where she completely denied the evidence of facts and different type of evidence that we have proven to her, just because she's maybe afraid to be ridiculized or whatever. I see much lack of integrity when it comes down to also to stick with something that's supposed to, she was voted in. and we're talking about voting record. Can you please explain? I give you the floor. Give me like 3 points or 2 or 3 points that you want where you can prove that her voting record of Senator Kelli Ward, it is not what she's trying to portray herself. She's not a conservative based on the Constitution, but she's been flip-flopping on some issues, for example, like Common Core. I give you the floor.
Okay, well, like on Common Core, you've got that issue. You had a bill called SB 1038, which laid out the obligations or the duties of the superintendent of education. Kelli went through that bill and lined out things and turned the authority over to the Board of Education, which are basically, to me, a group of appointed czars over education. That bill didn't pass. That was kept from happening. However, then she turned around and negotiated a deal on HB 2184, which was a House bill that had passed, went over to the Senate in her committee. Ward proposed a change in that bill, an amendment, to take 2 of those employees that Superintendent Douglas had fired and transfer them over to the board and allow that to give them supervision over those 2. Even though the statutes in the state codes don't allow that, they worked out a deal to get that done. Now, even though Douglas approved that, and it came out of Ward's committee, she pushed it through the Senate and Diggs got it passed. When it went back over to the House, we stopped it from passing at the House, so that became a dead issue. But once again, it was taking authority away from an elected official and handing it over to an appointed group of czars. Then when Diggs introduced SB 1469, which was a reconciliation budget bill, he entered into that what was actually the former amendment to SB 1038, taking all 11 employees away from Superintendent Douglas and a $1.7 million budget, and taking the board and turning it into a fully funded agency. Kelli Ward and 14 other Republican senators all voted for that.
Wow.
I was at a meeting this morning in Sun City West at the Sun City West Republican group. Superintendent Douglas was there speaking about what she's been doing over the last year and explaining her travels and meetings and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I took the opportunity to inform the group there that the recall effort had failed, and they were glad to hear that. And then I asked her directly about SB 1469, and did she approve the verbiage in there taking her authority away, constitutional authority, away from her by statute of those 11 employees and the $1.7 million budget, and turning the board into a full-blown government agency, which is like a whole other department now.
Wow.
If it's, and government never gets smaller. It always gets bigger. And this department would be run then by appointed people, not elected, which is what the overall idea here is. We don't want elected officials running our education. We want appointed ones. I asked her point blank, do you support that bill? The first few words out of her mouth was trying to explain 2184 and how she capitulated to that, but it didn't turn out the way she thought it was going to. And then her direct denial of ever supporting 1469 and her disapproval of that and how it worked out. Now, we had a state senator sitting at the table with her who I also know voted for that bill. And you could see on her face she didn't appreciate it. But I didn't mention any names, just the fact that she was against the bill. And she was against the bill, and Kelli Ward voted for that bill, which violated the Arizona Constitution and violated Arizona legal statutes as far as obligations and duties of government employees. And also, if you're not an employee of the state government, you have no jurisdiction and cannot manage employees of the state government. And when you hand over 11 of them to the board, when they're not employees, you're in violation of the statutes. I and others had testified in front of Senator Ward's Education Committee, of which she's the chair, and Yee and Allen and I think Smith and Dial were there. And 5 of us were there testifying in front of that committee on just the 2 employees and explaining to them the statutes were wrong, not on their side, and they were violating the Constitution. And I told them point blank that they were the last vestige of hope to uphold the Constitution for the voters of Arizona, and please not to do this, and they did it anyway.
Wow. This is big. So, this is very big for me. I mean, the focus now, I tell you, McCain, we already know. If you're listening to the show, at least if you are aware what's going on, we know that McCain is a problem. It's been a problem for many, many years. But what I'm really concerned...
Yeah, I tried to help J.D. Hayworth get elected in 10 against McCain.
But now the real problem is for me to have another McCain or wanna-be McCain or somebody that pretty much follow the establishment. Every time the big guys call the shots, she follows. And this is exactly the example, and this is disturbing because it's not only against
that's what scares me.
Yeah. I mean, she's
is having a state senator who's only been, I mean, let's face it, it's a part-time job.
Yeah.
Okay? She's been in office, she was in office sitting in the Capitol maybe 10 months out of 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you don't do other things away from the office. That's not the point. But to pass this kind of legislation along with another bill she brought out of her health committee when she was there to not allow midwives to aid in home birth.
Wow. Interesting.
Okay.
I remember that one. I remember that one. Yes.
Yeah, well, that was her bill.
Yes.
Now, we stopped it in the Senate. We got Biggs to kill it, explaining to him that if he'd pass it, he was going to lose a whole lot of voters. That was basically it. So you don't want to lose voters, so you don't do it. But this is not someone who's a conservative or someone who's a defender of the Constitution.
And individual rights. That's for me the most disturbing thing. Listen, I have a much more respect for people like, I don't want to use McCain because I have no respect for McCain, okay? But at least I know he's a scum, okay? At least his voting record is on the open. Look at that. He doesn't even try to fake it. You know, he goes to La Raza, he speaks to La Raza, he tries to pander into illegal aliens, he's completely for the abolishing of our borders, he's completely a warmonger against the Constitution. I mean, if you believe in the Constitution out there, only Congress can declare war, and the last war we really declared according to the Constitution was World War II, excuse me. And after all, we know that exactly this man what he's been doing to our individual rights, National Defense Authorization Act 2012, the destruction of our basic due process, indefinite detention. I mean, this guy is a complete fascist, okay? But we already knew that. Now, what is really more disturbing for me, that this camo politician, I call them camo because they try to camouflage themselves and they try to disguise themselves as something they are not. And when I see Senator Kelli Ward, she started to run against Common Core, and she was very much for individual rights, property rights, and the Constitution, and she wrapped herself around the flag, and then I see her voting record, I start to puke. Seriously. And I am completely losing respect. And I give you another example, okay? Because I really believe it's something that runs probably into the family. And now, since her husband is also a politician too, is elected as the chairman of the Republican Party in Mohave County, I start to see there is a big problem here. I start to smell when people want to run for office, not because they want to do the public thing, the res publica, but they want to pretty much have ambition of power. And I smell so much ambition of power. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And the love of power, you know, the Bible says the love of money is the root of evil. You can take that word, the love of money, the love of power, the love of influence, the love of status, is the root of evil.
Yeah.
And it is.
I'm sorry, a lot of people there, they're desperate to find somebody to defeat McCain. I understand. I'm with you guys. I used to be exposing McCain when people used to throw tomatoes at me in 10 years ago, 6 years ago. I mean, but the point is, now we must understand, let's not stuck with the same problem. Let's not just be eating the same goop that the Republican Party is trying to feed us. Senator Kelli Ward, is not the only opportunity that we have to replace McCain. And that's why I am disturbed when I see the Republican Party don't let other people at least, they already made up their mind. I see that they already made up their mind. In Washington, she already got the endorsement. It seems like almost she already pretty much been selected. Don't you have that feeling?
You see, look at what they do there is, I've been told over the years I should have run for a state job or a county job and worked my way up.
Yeah.
And what they really mean by that, like a few people have walked around saying that she's the most qualified. I don't agree with that, just on the level of understanding the Constitution or her voting record. But I understand what that means. The definition of that, when politicians tell you this other politician is the most qualified, what they really mean by that, the definition that I've come to realize is they've already proven they'll do what the party tells them to do.
Exactly.
See, I'm not a known commodity. Most of them know I won't go along with the games they play. When I did my radio show, I used to expose a lot of Republicans, and I upset a lot of the Republican Party because of it. And they used to say, you need to not do some of this. You're creating division. And I said, if they tell the truth, I wouldn't have to do this.
Yeah.
I said, to me, I've got a responsibility to make sure voters know what these people are really doing.
Exactly. And I say, today the focus, people wants to find out more about you. I really want you to go to the website. And I want to, the focus for me now is to give you a voice to also talk about other candidates that they are running against you for the same seat of Senator McCain, but unfortunately people, they are not aware. And I think unfortunately Senator Kelli Ward is the person that she's getting some sort of a privilege highway here to go to that place, and we've not been given other opportunities to listen to other voices. That's why
your Republican groups and LDs, we've tried to get a hold of most of them and get to speak at some.
Yeah.
We've been able to speak at about 2/3 of the one in Maricopa County. We've been up to Prescott, and we've been to Payson. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, you got to remember, 14 of the Republican senators voted with her on this bill.
Exactly.
They don't really want to have someone like me coming to their LDs and their Republican groups in their counties and talking about this, because they're as guilty as she is.
Yeah. No, I tell you,
this is a good old boys and girls club. If you're not on the inside, they don't want you exposing what they're doing.
Exactly. And this is why one of the reasons, I tell you, I left the Republican Party. Of course, I invite people to stay in and change the machine from within. But for me, it was different, of course. I have a radio show, and I don't want to be any more connected to any party. That's my personal situation. But yeah, it's a mafia. It's a mafia in both parties. I mean, the Democrats, they're doing the same. All parties, they are controlled by the same globalist. And and they've been, bribing and giving special advantages for the people, to the people that they're going to play game. And that's what really I'm concerned. Now, there is so much I would like to ask you, and before we go ahead, I want to ask you some basic important things. First of all, if you get elected and you can make it to Washington, okay, what is your position on, first of all, the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012? Do you support these unconstitutional bills or not?
I don't support either one of them, never have.
Okay.
I don't support GATT. I don't support NAFTA. I don't support the treaty agreements Obama just made.
Okay.
None of that.
Very good.
Or
now,
the CISPA agreement, the Central Intelligence permission to spy on us, cyber intelligence, I don't support that either.
Perfect. I understand. I want to cover as much as I can. We don't have much time. Second question. You know that already now in California, there is a mandatory vaccination for all the children who want to attend any school, public or private. And now there is a bill from a congresswoman from Florida who wants to make mandatory vaccines to every child in America. What is your position on forced vaccinations?
No.
Very
That's
good.
the right of the parents to raise their children.
Yeah.
I call it the People's Republic of China, or of California. Yeah. I lived there. It didn't used to be like it is now. It's unfortunate because it's still, the climate is still nice, the beaches look good. But the state itself is in total chaos and disaster. It's out of control, as are most states in this country, honestly, if you really look at some of the stuff they're passing.
I understand. This is very important because I know about the vaccines. I don't have any voting record about that because we didn't really vote on that in Arizona with Senator Kelli Ward. But I have found some posts on Facebook where people were asking, and she seemed like she was in favor of vaccines. I would like to double check that, but if people has more proofs, did you hear anything about Kelli Ward on vaccines?
I think, I'll be honest with you, from my observations of most politicians, it will depend on what way the wind's blowing.
So probably that.
Kind of like with you had that meeting with Ms. Ward and the environmental people of Arizona.
Yes.
Kingman.
I was going to talk about that. Yes,
I believe that meeting was basically to find out how many people would show up at it. To see what kind of a political backing they really had when they didn't see what they wanted. I mean, to bring people up there that had no authority or no ability to do anything was a waste of time. And for Mr. Gozar not to do anything is also disrespectful to voters.
Yes, and I'm telling you,
geoengineering, aka chemtrails, is something that needs to be looked into. The citizens of this country have a perfect right to figure out or find out why that's going on and what it really is. There needs to be studies that are scientifically done, so whatever's going on in the bodies of those peoples, whatever accumulation of aluminum or bichar or whatever they've got in their body, they need to know where that's coming from and why.
Exactly. You know, one thing is very disturbing. We have proof and evidence, for example, where the government, in the last 50 or 60 years at least, they've been testing on civilians and, of course, also militaries, people without our consent. Let's not forget, for people who deny the government will never do that, in Mojave County, we have the Mojave County downwinders, people who are still dying of radiation, and now finally Congress is paying some, little bit of charity money just to give you the money to put your little tomb and your little burial. So the point is now, how many times we need to prove that? And I've proven with documents, official government documents. For example, the state of Arizona on the website, and I post that on lovegunsfreedom.com, we have a website from the state of Arizona, the .gov website, where anybody can download an application where you can ask a permit, pay for $100, you have a permit to somehow do weather modification activities in your area. And when I see documents from the Senate, for example, there are documents from the 1965, where they were talking about the danger and the morality and also how to sell it to the public about weather modification. So when I find somebody like Senator Kelli Ward, who says that according to the several articles, I do not believe in weather modification. I do not believe in chemtrails. This is not about faith. I believe about faith. It's another thing. It's a dogma. This is about science. It's about evidence.
Yeah, science is provable.
It's also facts. I mean, evidence. Well, all you have to do, look at the sky. But when you see documents from all the government and the federal government, and they try to hide it from us, this is disturbing because she's not even elected and she's already playing game. Think about it. That's the most disturbing thing. At least McCain has an excuse. He's been doing the scumbag job for 40 years. Okay? She's not even started it and she's already playing game. So I really say it's an insult to intelligence when somebody doesn't even want to talk about the evidence that we have here. And when people say, hey, we have bigger problems than weather modification, guess what? When you understand what you're breathing, when you understand the level of chemicals and germs that we are being so abused, and how people are reacting to this is something about death or life. We can talk about taxes all you want, but when I'm dead, what am I going to do about that? Seriously.
Nothing. The reality is the first form of government, or the first obligation of government, is to protect its citizens.
Exactly. So
period.
I tell you, I'm glad you're running against Senator Kelli Ward and against McCain, of course, because we need more and more different voices. I want to give you 60 seconds, whatever you want to say, your website, and whatever you want to say. Go ahead.
Well, I hope all the voters who listen to this understand what I'm trying to do. I am running for the U.S. Senate. My name is Clair Van Steenwyk. We have a website, vanussenate.com. That's vanussenate.com. You can find out all the information you need to about me there. I'm a constitutional candidate who's also a fiscal and social conservative. I have a record of being on the air, broadcasting, doing rallies, etc. for years. I am not new to this game, but I am not well liked by many in the GOP, because I will not take and will not play the little games they want to play with everybody. I'm not looking for a career. I retired from a very good one. I'm looking to fix our government for myself, your generation, and my children and grandchildren, and hoping someday someone will step up and take my place. We cannot afford another senator in state government or federal government that does what the parties want them to do. Mr. Ryan just proved that once again, and here's my case on that. Mr. Ryan's not the only one that needs to be replaced. Anybody that voted that man into authority needs to be replaced right with him. I can think of at least 4 congressmen in this state that need to be removed from office, including the one district I live in. We've got to start standing up for ourselves. An informed electorate is what they're afraid of. And they have gotten complacency by promise. They've programmed people to be complacent. They've got over 50% of the American public that doesn't vote, and the rest of them are almost like trained seals. Start looking at issues. This is not a baseball game. This is real life. We've got to start voting for people, supporting people both physically and financially that are serious about this and want to change this country back to what it was, say, when I was a kid or my father was. We've had several thousands and thousands of people die for us to give us our freedoms. We deserve to give them back the respect they gave us by being informed voters and not acting like this is just a game. It's our lives we're talking about here, and not just ours. It's generations to come. I want to thank Lou for giving me the time to come on the show today. I want to thank all of you for listening, and help us all you can in any way you can. Let other people know about us, and we're waiting to get invited outside of Maricopa County, and we'll travel anywhere you want us to come, and that includes a barbecue in your backyard. God bless you, and thank you for the time.
Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on KTOX 1340 AM. The beginning of the show is supposed almost to be like a local show, okay? After all, broadcasting from Needles, California, reaching out to the area, the tri-state area of Nevada with Laughlin and, of course, Bullhead and that part of Arizona that we know like Lake Havasu and this area, Golden Valley. But now, slowly, the last 2 years, I realized that even the radio, it's local. More and more, it's important to share the information at the global level. You know, I believe that tyranny is happening everywhere, not just in our communities, but also, of course, in different states and, of course, around the world. That's why I really treasure people and friends that I find on the internet, like-minded people, who we share the same values, we share the same struggle, and we can also share the information, what's going on around their places, okay? So today we have, again, a great guy. I really like him a lot. I like him and his lady, Becky. You know, they've done a great job creating from nothing, with nothing, an incredible independent media outlet. It's called the Voice of Idaho News. And his name is Michael Emery. Michael, are you there?
Yes, I am. How you doing, Luca?
Pretty good. And I really appreciate your time because the focus today I would like to share, thanks to you, what's going on right now in Oregon with the Hammond-family. I already had a few weeks ago one of the Bundy's sons, you know, a Hammond Bundy, who told us a lot of details, disturbing details of what's going on with this family. But now we have updates. We are getting closer to the date of when this family, at least the father and the son, is supposed to go to this federal sentence, you know, federal jail for prison for how many years? I even forgot. I think 5 years. I mean, something insane. Give us the details. What's going on and refresh us briefly the memory, what happened.
Okay. I'll wrap this in real quick. The Harmons would have been under attack for quite a few years by the BLM because of a backburn. All right. Yeah, they were cleared of charges within the state, but the bureaucracy came in and charged them with terrorism. You know? Yeah. And, yes, the entire situation has been horrible. They had to serve time and they got out. And now the federal government says that that's not enough and are doing double indemnity and going to put him back in jail.
Double jeopardy. I mean, at this point, the Bill of Rights, it's a joke, really, because
you know it's a long train of abuse.
Yes.
So, coming down to today, the Harmons were threatened, and they were threatened through their lawyer from this bureaucracy that if they do not stop talking to the Bundys or anyone else that may come to their aid, they will come and get them early, and someone may get hurt, and that they can guarantee that they will go into a very harsh prison sentence. That means, and that's basically quotation from the lawyer.
Wow. And remember that we had Hammond Bundy, because he was the direct person that he witnessed that, talking directly to the Hammond family, because he's the one that was trying to help him out, and he was also on that list too. They told him that even Hammond could be in trouble. So this is now really disturbing. And now there are some updates. Something's going on. We are getting closer to the date when I think it's the father and the son, they're supposed to go to start to serve the sentence. Any updates you have regarding that?
Well, we're having a rally, and I'm getting the information up, in Oregon, the 2nd, which is this Saturday. And let me go to where that information's at. Stay on this page. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No problem. Go ahead. I can post always the page on lovegunsfreedom.com. As you give it to me, I will post it on the today's show on lovegunsfreedom.com. Go ahead, please.
Becky will give you all the information that you need and times, dates, and everything else. But it's basically the 2nd is when we're going down there to give support to not only the Harmons, but this has turned into something different. The people of Harney County were the ones that put the redress of grievance out in a proper form with over 100,000 signatures, and the majority of them coming from Oregon itself. All right. We had a meeting, and the people of Harney County want this redress of grievance to be recognized. And the county and the sheriff are not recognizing it. They're not doing the proper steps and the legal terms of this. So they're taking it upon themselves, like our founding fathers,
Wow.
This is where this is so important. And folks, you need to listen very carefully to this. This redress of grievance has teeth. And if they don't apply it, our founding fathers did the same thing by a safety committee, a committee of safety, which Harney County citizens, including somebody that I guess is a fire marshal and a few other people. I'm going down tomorrow to get the information out a little bit better.
Wow.
But you cannot have a court without enforcement. And this is about enforcement to the laws. This is a situation that's coming around that we need all hands on deck to be able to support the people of Harney County to stop this case of precedence that has come on them there where they can charge any rancher for treason for whatever reason they want. That's what this is about, folks. And the Hammonds just happen to be the victims. And we're using this case to expose what kind of grievance everyone can be faced with on this intentful land grab that they have out there to stop free trade and the American way of life. This is a war on the ranchers.
Yes, and tomorrow could be the war on somebody else's. The point is they started with them. We know that they are enforcing Agenda 21. They want to remove individuals from these rural areas and confiscate our properties with excuses. They started with the little jumping mice or the little turtle with the with the bandits, and now they have some other reasons here, like it's so sad to see people charged and also sentenced with terrorist accuses, and for what? Just because they were doing some cleaning around their property. And the fact that, by the way, the BLM always burns. They always burn very much with also a lot of problems, because when the BLM burns, they use accelerants, they're chemicals, they're very dangerous to us and our health, but they can do it because it's fine. It's the government after all. They can do whatever they want. So, and the sad thing in all this, for people that may believe or whatever, I don't know, they may not agree on this issue. Think about it. If we have we're still living under Bill of Rights, if we are still believing, nobody should be charged twice for the same crime, okay? This is like almost a kangaroo court like we had during King George, when the judge was pretty much part of the king, and if they brought back to England or they brought back in front of the king the people that were breaking the law according to the law of the time. So it's very sad. Now the very interesting thing is going to be, first of all, we're going to see another potential standoff or not. What do you think? Because they're coming. They're going to come and pick them up. And according to the people of this committee, and also, of course, the redress of grievances, we have now a situation that this family is going to be defended. They're going to be trying to defend it. But is the family part of this plan, or they're just witnessing? Are they how they do reacting after they see how the community is trying to defend them?
They may act. I cannot speak for them, and this has kind of been taken out of their court right now and into the court of public opinion and the people of Harney County. Mm-hmm. This is a situation where it's their free will to do what they feel necessary to do. All right, but this is more about the redress of grievance that has been applied, and that the state and that county is not addressing it. This is what this has turned into, and so. If the Hammonds want support, they will have it. But this is more about the other ranchers right now in this redress of grievance, and it will be brought forward and enforced upon. This is the difference, and I have to be delicate in stating some of this information, but we do have a situation kind of like what happened at the Bundy Ranch. But it's turned into its own life. And this own life is to enforce the laws, equal justice. And right now, they can't just say that they do not honor this redress of grievance. So, the Committee of Safety, the safety committees themselves, can provide a court if the constables or courts will not address legitimate concerns. So that means that the jury system of the people need enforcement for whatever findings within the people's court that come up there. They have to address it. But the only way you can have a court is if you have enforcement. So that's where this is really going.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Unfortunately, the show, is going to be on the air on Sunday. We are recording right now. So Saturday, you're going to have the meeting, and the show is going to be anyway the day after. But regardless, this is going to be, unfortunately, very interesting, and things going to happen no matter what. Something's going to happen. For sure, we know the worst-case scenario, this family, those two individuals, father and son, they're going to spend hard time in jail, in a federal prison. But question is, are you living from Idaho, and you driving all the way? Are you driving all the way, or are you flying to Oregon?
Oh, I'm neighbors with Ammon. I went to his house. Okay, he lives in Idaho. I'm a hop and skip.
Okay.
About an hour and a half, 2 hours away from where I need to go.
Oh, good. Okay.
In Harney County. So this is my back door.
Okay, good. At least you're not that far, because I know that there are people that, they are really traveling from different states, like from Arizona and another part of the country, and this is going to be very challenging also for all of us, or for all the people that they're going to try to help, because the weather condition, I'm sure that is not exactly mild. I'm sure it's cold out there. Yeah. And of course, we're talking about holiday time, people normally with their family. So I don't know exactly. I'm here. I don't have any eyes on the ground there, but I don't know exactly how much response they're having right now on people. Like, for example, what happened with the Bundys, we had a great crowd, because I think it was also a good time of the year, and the media, of course, they really help out, at least indirectly, the independent media, I mean. But the point is, I don't know. What do you think? How many people you think we have seen as supporters beside the local community?
By the time this recording is aired, there's going to be a lot more that you'll know.
Okay.
Right now, we're going to have this event on Saturday where it's kind of a caravan to Burns. And in any case, you can get all the information. I'll have it up for you. Yeah. I've been working in the backdrop for the safety committee to get this information out, and I'll have in the next 2 days some updates. But I want people to understand what this is about more than anything. There's a spin going on that, the Hammonds don't want help. But they're ignoring and I don't want to mention groups, but certain groups that should be involved with this are ignoring the obvious, that this is about one chance to stand up to this bureaucracy and say no. That's what this is about. And if we don't stand up to this, it's going to have to be more harsh the next time. We have a chance to do this peacefully, but with boldness.
Yeah, I tell you, you're right. Unfortunately, if we let them completely take over like this without even trying to resist and trying to show that we still have, people don't understand sometimes. They think just because a judge can say something, it's the final word. There are judges that were corrupted during of course, any time. And more important, we know very well that even during the slavery time, judges and the Supreme Court said that was okay. And remember, everything that our founding fathers did, that was pretty much against the judges of the king. Okay, so at the end of the day, we the people, with the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, we are the last defender of our own rights. Nobody else, no judges. And that's why we're community and the sheriff, of course, supposed to get together. And I think this is very important, because this is also done according to a process that not just somebody wake up and say, okay, now we decide the guy is innocent. No, that is the final authority is supposed to be the jury of the people, the real people, not some judges out there. But that, of course, we know very well when somebody has the type of tyranny to say, hey, we didn't like the first trial, we're going to try you again. Right there, you already lose point. I don't care who you are, federal government or not, you're already acting as a king. And that's time to stop it. And I think people, the best thing they can do, at least start to get involved peacefully and try to show that these Hammonds, they're not alone. Because next time it's going to happen to any one of us. That's the bottom line,
Here's how it is laid out. Our founding fathers had the wisdom to be able to fight the king. We have no difference in our court systems today. So if a redress of grievance is when you find criminality within your courts of misfindings, it's the real court is the jury. And they can take it back to the citizens and form their own courts if that court has been exposed to not follows the laws, equal justice. So that's where we're at now. Now the safety committee has been formed, and the next step is to form a court with protection. And this is where the militia really came in. And you militia members out there, get this and get this straight. You need in your counties to form a safety committee for the people that are potential jurors to address these crimes, to work within the local law enforcement so that they have power of the people to be able to enact a judgment that is fair. Mm-hmm. And that's what this is about. So, in the next few weeks, you're going to see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I encourage everyone to empower themselves within their counties to form safety committees, study what our founding fathers did, and use that as the formula to today, because it is all our courts are based on these safety committees and on local government and people being the courts themselves.
Yes.
And they have not taught that in our schools. I'm surprised that people that didn't even understand how the process of taking back our government was back for our founding fathers. They're in the same position then, and we're in the same position now. So that's where we're at.
Exactly. So, first of all, let's document ourselves. What it's happening in Oregon is not just a bunch of anarchists that try to say, okay, we want to ignore the final decision of the court. No, talking about bringing back as the law of the land the Constitution and defending our basic Bill of Rights. That's the bottom line. Not because it comes through a man with a rope, it's going to be that means that's the truth, or cannot be corrupted. So we, the people, have the duty to investigate, and of course to also create this safety committee. And by the way, this is something that people need to start to look. And need to start to look in also understanding the history. We don't have the time right now, but where exactly happened in the past, also in our basic rights, in our Constitution, in our Bill of Rights, when the sheriff also supposed to be part of this. Unfortunately, the sheriff here we see in Oregon, correct me if I'm wrong, he doesn't really care very much, right?
No, but we had a meeting yesterday, and he came to the meeting. Yeah. And all the ranchers were there, and it was quite a turnout. And all he did was show them how uneducated he is, mm-hmm. and how perfect of a puppet he is because of his lack of education. And he didn't even understand what the basis of his duties are to the people. He just said, well, that's what they say. And this is who they put in these positions. I really like to talk to all the sheriffs and people in law enforcement. They know exactly what we're talking about. The mm-hmm. person that is the least qualified ends up being the one in charge. Yeah. And why is that? Because of their ignorance.
Yeah. Or maybe because also this is the easy way out. After all, they are comfortable. It's not happening to them. It's not happening to their families. Say, I'm the man of the law and I need to enforce the law. So if somebody's screaming and yelling, they're putting them in the truck just because the SAS they're coming, it's still the law. I mean, remember, Hitler did everything under the law, okay? Let's not forget that. And so many other tyrants.
So did Mussolini in many respects.
Yeah, I mean, the point is not because, we have here a situation that I invite everybody. I don't want to say you need to, everybody of you listeners, they need to say, oh, I'm taking side. No, just document yourself. Think if that's right to charge people, a family with no criminal record, a real regular American family, working family, with terrorism, just because they were burning, cleaning, to create the environment for their cows to have grass. And nobody was harmed. There was no victim. When you have victimless crimes, something that is anyway is an agricultural procedure, okay? Maybe they didn't have the right permit, whatever. The point is still, okay, the BLM does that all day long and they can create damages. Look what the EPA did in just a few months ago in Colorado, polluting and poisoning billions of gallons of water, and nothing happened to these bastards. Probably they got a promotion. Instead, look at this, a family that never done anything bad, and just because we know very well they have an agenda, the federal government want to kick them out of that piece of land, they want to take it over for Agenda 21, for many other reasons. Now at this point, that's not the point to speculate, but we know very well, just because somebody was burning some grass, is going to spend 5 years in jail, not in jail, in federal prison, like an hardcore criminal, with no victims, no crime. Of course, for me, if there is not a victim like that, this is not a crime. If you want to really go, maybe you want to talk about a fine, maybe we can talk about that. But to put them in 5 years in federal prison after They already were sentenced once, and now you charge them again, and you try them again. That's completely an act of tyranny. I don't care if you are left, right, center. We should look at this, because they can apply this now, this new judicial system, completely tyrannical, to any one of us. Okay?
Well,
that's the bottom line.
The point we have right now is that the real terrorist, in definition, is what the federal government has done to the people of Harney County and the Hammonds themselves. Mm-hmm. The definition is clear and omnipresent, and that's what the safety committee and the court that's being developed is looking at. Charges being brought up to that county and to that prosecuting attorney for terrorism charges.
Excellent.
That's what's going on right now.
There is a website, Michael, I wanted to share with you, and for all the people that they want to know more about the Committee of Safety, how to set it up. It's called constitution.org. Okay, and I will post the link. There is exactly URL. If you go to today's Love, Guns, and Freedom radio show, I will post the exact link how to set up a Committee of Safety with all the information coming back from our founding fathers. So this is nothing like, as I said, not just a bunch of crazy people they want to start to create their own reality. This is something that is part of the foundations of this republic. And we need to understand that if you want to fight tyranny, we need to use the same tools that our founding fathers did. So it's something very important. And also, I'm sure you know about it, but I will send you also a link right now so you can maybe share it if it's something that you can share with other people on your website.
Thank you so much. We all have to work together within this beautiful, beautiful Trojan horse called the social media and internet.
Yes.
We have won the information war, folks, and it's and we have to take this from the ground floor up, not from the top down, but from the bottom up within our counties. That's where you have power.
Yes.
And there's transgressions across this land, and you people have the power to take back our government in a peaceful manner.
Yes. Everybody listening.
Stand behind legs to do it.
Everybody who's listening, please study and learn about this, how to set up a committee of safety. Try to work with your local constitutional law enforcement. I call them peace officers, starting from the sheriff, the county sheriff. If you're stuck in a city or a town, I have much more difficulty to think, unfortunately, it's going to be a real report, because after all, most of the police chiefs, they are directly appointed. They don't care about the people, really. But if you have a sheriff and it's elected, it's time to find the right person, the right man or the right woman for the job, who understands the Constitution, who understands also how to set up a committee of safety, and is willing to apply everything that we're talking here. Now, listen, I would like to give you last time the opportunity to share your website, so people can find out more about you, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay, you can go to voiceofidaho.com or type in tvoinews.com and go directly to our website. Our Facebook links are all on there. And if there's anyone out there that, and if you don't mind, I'll give out a phone number that they can contact me, if that's all right.
Yes.
At 208-473-1450, and I can help you with your social media ideas and how you can create your own news agency on pennies. I'm here to help in any way, shape, or form I can with what you have in your area. So
perfect. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on United States.FM network. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on United States.FM network.
Happy New Year, everybody. I am fired up for the year that stretches out before us, and that's because of what we've accomplished together over the past 7 years. 7 years ago, our businesses were losing 800,000 jobs a month. They've now created jobs for 69 straight months, driving the unemployment rate from a high of 10% down to 5%. 7 years ago, too many Americans went without health insurance. We've now covered more than 17 million people, dropping the rate of the uninsured below 10% for the very first time. 7 years ago, we were addicted to foreign oil. Now our oil imports have plummeted. Our clean energy industry is booming, and America is a global leader in the fight against climate change. 7 years ago, there were only 2 states in America with marriage equality, and now there are 50. All of this progress is because of you, and we've got so much more to do. So my New Year's resolution is to move forward on our unfinished business as much as I can. That's especially true for one piece of unfinished business, our epidemic of gun violence. We know we can't stop every act of violence, but what if we tried to stop even one? What if Congress did something, anything, to protect our kids from gun violence?
Here we go, it's coming. No, it's coming, it's already here. This is a very serious broadcast. Yes, there are some sound effects that sound maybe kind of clownish. Unfortunately, the only thing sometimes make me feel a little better when I see such scum, when I see such wannabe Stalin, when I see such act of tyranny. It's a little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of irony, a little bit of First Amendment, yes. Because this man, I don't even want to call him man, this piece of garbage called Obama is a disgrace to this republic, is a complete traitor, and I tell you something, I'm sorry for the people that will still support him. This is like going back in Nazi Germany. You know, I don't care right now where really if you are understanding the Second Amendment or not. This is not anymore about Bill of Rights, that by the way it is. It is also about understanding that we have in front of us a man who wants to act, who is acting as a tyrant. Definition of tyrant is somebody has all the power. He doesn't care. He does not care. This is supposed to be a republic. And after all, the president cannot write laws. And of course, we will go there even if Congress tried to pass laws that are against the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. But that's another story. We have even worse situation here. We have a man or subhuman, in this case, I don't want to call him man, I have no respect for these pieces of garbage. Pieces, I said, because it's more than one. This person, he thinks now that he can pretty much, by executive order, destroy our Second Amendment. And I tell you, I am not just irate with him, I am disgusted with Congress. We know very well that both parties, they're working together. I mean, look at Paul Ryan, look at Bonner, look at McConnell. They're just like water boys for Obama. That's it. They're paid off. They're scum. Still, let's see Congress what it's going to do. Because next few days, this show is on Sunday. But next few days, we will see even tomorrow, Monday, what's going to happen. And there's a lot of things that are happening here. Today, unfortunately, you know, I tell you, it's becoming always more and more tough just to study, learn, and try to share this information. Because this is not a hobby. This is not like we are talking something just because we have nothing better to do. Could be that the next few days, the next few weeks, some of us may be dead. Seriously. Maybe many of us may be facing really dangerous consequences for our own actions. When I mean actions, just to be standing for our rights. Because we are coming to this point. I know it's hard to believe. I know you think this could never happen to America, but we are now under complete attack. And when I say our rights under attack, I'm not exaggerating. Now it's coming down all the way on our face. And it's very important that we understand what we are facing, because if we let this happen, we're never going to take it back anymore. It's going to be gone forever. So let's start to see, first of all, Mr. Obama, the scum, the communist scum, puppet of the New World Order. That's what he is. Obama, you are a piece of scum, okay? Or pieces of scum, because you're more than one. You're so much scum, I am throwing up. After, about almost a month from the San Bernardino shooting, that we already talked, there is something that stinks like high heaven there. I mean, yes, people are dead, but the point is, things don't add up. I already talked about that. There are many witnesses who said that there were more than just the couple. 3 white men armed disappear, but that's not the situation. Anyway, after that shooting, San Bernardino shooting, Obama said he promised to us almost every time that more gun laws, more gun restrictions laws going to happen. And we have something very bad now also happening in the Congress. In Congress, there's a bill that it's almost laughable if it wasn't so serious. But before that, let's see now, Obama just said out of his mouth from his address, that normally does during the holidays, from Hawaii, his vacation place. This bastard spent more than $40 million just, on holidays, $40 million. And people say, Bush, I don't care about Bush because there was another scam too, okay? But this is a new level. Anyway, he told us he's going to sit down next week with that piece of trash of Attorney General, and they're going to work out together to start to really show who is boss here. Meanwhile, at least on this topic, at least in Texas, the governor of Texas told Obama in a Twitter, come and take it. And that's the spirit. That's the spirit now where we're coming down to. It's about us. It's about us. It's about us to decide if we want to just say, okay, after all, whatever he's saying, we're going to hide our guns. No, this is not anymore about hiding anything. The moment that we hide our guns, the moment that we submit to this act of tyranny, we lose. These bastards, they are in the wrong. This guy to try to do this executive order, that by the way, even if it was a law against the Constitution, is null and void. But more important, this guy is acting like a tyrant. I don't want to call it a guy. This scum, Obama, is acting like a tyrant. Completely removing every resemblance of our republic. Only Congress should be able to write laws. Obama is supposed to execute them. And we know he doesn't even do that. So now, of course, what's going to happen? We'll see exactly what means, in his executive order, what exactly is going to happen. One thing is disturbing, that we know that what they will try to do. They will try to pass the same principles, unconstitutional, without due process principle, that if you are on a no-flight list, that means just because the government doesn't like your last name, without judge, without trial, nothing, maybe even by accident, they can say you cannot fly. It's already been happening in the last 8 years, 10 years. Thousands of Americans, unfortunately, are on that no-fly list. You could also now be eligible, and I'm being sarcastic here, for a no-gun list. That means if you're not allowed to fly, you cannot even have a gun. So this is the disturbing thing. Meanwhile, we have some good news. The good news is that, of course, Texas, now they have open carry. Finally, it's about time. They don't need any more to hide their handguns, but they can carry in the shoulder, on the belt holster. It's something, open carry. Good for them. I'm glad. And now we realize that things are moving around, not just at federal level, but also state level. There is, in California, a new law that just passed and is going to be implemented right now, starting from January. So if you live in California, there is a new law that will take immediately effect, or it was last Friday. We allow the police to seize private, legally owned weapons for up to 3 weeks without charges, or allowing the citizen to contest the seizure. This piece of abominable, completely, I don't want to call it abominable. It's like, it's something what Hitler would do. AB 1014, AB 1014, okay, was passed last year in the wake of the 2014 Isla Vista shooting. There was a teenager, Elliot Roger, who went on this rampage near the campus of the University of California, killing 6 people and then along with himself. Now, because of that excuse, it's always an excuse. Now, finally, the California fascists, they got out the new legislation that anybody, you can go, and let's say you don't like somebody, all you have to do is go to the police, Say, I think that person is a danger. I really think that person who has a gun, who owns guns, can be a danger. You're not even going to face the accuser, completely unconstitutional. You're not even going to go in front of a judge with a jury to try to defend yourself. It could be just your ex-girlfriend or your ex-boyfriend. And the cops will show up at your door, probably in SWAT team, because after all, you're a gun owner, and they will take your guns. Then, after 3 weeks, after you have some sort of test, mental evaluation, so back to the same type of KGB mental psychiatric, police that they're going to tell you, a freaking doctor, just because maybe not a doctor who doesn't like guns, all I have to say, yeah, he's not fit for guns, after all. So your rights are gone. This is to all of us. Seriously, this is very serious. I mean, I thought we already saw a lot of bad stuff, but unfortunately what California does, it always creates the precedent for what other states are going to follow. They will try to push this all over the states and at federal level. So, California, I'm sorry. If you have friends, I mean, I have friends in California, and I know many of them, they're listening to the show. Guys, I know you got homes, I know you got businesses or whatever you have, but your life and your freedom, I think, is more important than anything else. Just get out of there if you can. If you're a gun owner, get out of their place. Otherwise, you're going to be facing two choices. One choice is going to be to comply and be a good slave and hopefully let you go. The other one is going to be fight back. It's not going to be, unfortunately, a very cheery situation. So I say, come to Arizona, bring your guns, and be happy, land it cheap, and load up on ammo, and let's stick together, and let's try to avoid that any of these bastards, politicians, ever going to have an idea like this in Arizona. So far, we are the best state when it comes down to Second Amendment, right? And we're going to keep it like that. In a way or another. This is not anymore about the law. Politicians come and go. They can come today, be good, tomorrow they have a bunch of scumbags. Guess what? There's a point. We have a Bill of Rights. We have the Constitution. But at the end of the day, if we do not stand up, if we do not commit ourselves to defend this Bill of Rights, it's just nothing. It's up to us. Good people must make the hard decision to do the right thing, even risking their lives. I would say the same if it was Bush. And I said this about Bush. Bush was a fascist, the destroyer of our Constitution. And Obama is doing the same, but 10 times more and 10 times faster. Guess what? I don't care. I still have freedom of speech. You like it or not? So sorry, you don't need to listen to this show, okay? So just turn it off and grow up some balls. Because I'm really disgusted with you. Like a baby, crying baby, start to cuss at me. Screw you. Okay, I'm not even going to let you on the show. Because, all you can do is cussing. Guess what? Go away. Anyway, back to the situation. We're going to face a real situation here. I sometimes, I'm trying to really control myself. Sometimes it's hard. Because what I realize here, this is not anymore something's going to happen in the future. It's happening now. And the sad thing, we could all avoid it. All we have to do is stand up together as human beings, as Americans. Now, let me tell you another situation it's happening. We talk about the California law. It is completely a disgrace. Now we talk, of course, about Obama completely throwing up his new garbage about his executive order is going to give us as a New Year gift next few days. And now we go to, we're talking about, of course, executive orders to create gun control. And then we go now to the new federal attempt of gun control, sponsored by Representative Cicely David from, where is from? He'll come. I have no idea. Rhode Island, I guess. Yes, that was introduced December the 16th, 2015. This is something that it is out of their mind. HR 4269. Please sit down and listen. And even many of you may say, oh, this is never going to go through. After all, we have a Congress. It's still Republican hands. Guess what? Please, don't be stupid. Even Obamacare was never going to go through. And then, of course, when it passed through, then the same Republicans are supposed to repeal it, voted for it. But don't forget, it's only a question of time. What you will see now in this bill It is exactly their final goal, a complete gun confiscation and limitation in our hands of the civilians, of American people. So, H.R. 4269, to regulate assault weapons, to ensure that the right to keep and bear arms is not unlimited, and for other purposes. And what is the real purpose? Scum, Congressman Cicilline David. What is it? It's exactly to defend ourselves from scum like you. Let's spell it out. This is not for hunting. This is not for sport. This is not for hobby, but it's to defend freedom from pieces of trash like you, Congressman. And of course, there's a pack of representatives, mostly they're all the Democrats. You can go check it out, H.R. 4269. You will see the list of these roaches. They are a pack of roaches. That's what they are. And to make story short, you will see this is going to limit every type of semi-automatic handgun, for starter. Any type of semi-automatic shotgun. Any type of semi-automatic rifle. No pistol grip for rifles. No forward grip. No detachable stock. Threaded barrel. Barrel shroud. I mean, there is a list. So, this is insanity. So, you're going to remove probably 90% of the guns that we have right now available. Everything semi-automatic. They want to pretty much give you just one single shot, like happened already in Australia. They give you the little single shot, and I wouldn't be surprised that next going to be just black powder. After all, our founding fathers, they fought with musket and black powder, so that's all you need. And this is a serious matter. Shall be unlawful for the person to import, sell, manufacture, transfer, or possess, even if you already have it, if you already bought it. Any type of semi-automatic, they call it assault weapon. There is no assault weapon, bastard. The assault weapon is the one with the selective fire. We have semi-automatic rifles with some characteristic, like a pistol grip, or things like that they don't make an assault. They don't assault anybody. So anyway, their final goal, as you can see, is completely castrate the American people. And this is going to be serious. This is not a game. They can arrest you, and this is a felony. And you can spend probably, 10 years in jail, I guess? I was reading it, I was throwing up, I had to stop a couple times. So, seriously, even if right now, this law may not pass in this Congress, you know what the next few years, Americans, we have to face. And when people says, Obama doesn't want to take our guns. Oh, what are you talking about? They don't want our guns. Look, you still have your gun. Guess what? We've been fighting back last 7 years, non-stop. Congress has been trying to assault on our rights every other time. Every time there is a dead body, it's still warm, still not going to the morgue yet, still laying on the street, already passing one of these bills, trying to pass one of these bills. And this is another proof. That's the final goal. And I have a situation, I want to tell you something. I'm not a tough guy. I'm a regular guy. I enjoy life. I really try to mind my business when I can. But there is a point, as a human being, as an American, we need to find our line in the sand. There is a point that our dignity as human beings, it must be more important than our life. I really believe it. The moment that we're going to comply with any executive orders or any type of pieces of such unconstitutional legislations, we are completely slave. And you know what? Our founding fathers fought and died for us. Fought and died that we had a Constitution and Bill of Rights. So we didn't have to fight. So we didn't have to die, hopefully. But we had to stand up. Because we are in the legality. We are in the moral high ground. They are the lawbreakers. This Congress is completely a bunch of traitors. Obama is a traitor. These people should be arrested and charged and judged in front of a jury for treason. Because if you put your hand on the Bible and on the Constitution to defend the Bill of Rights, we know very well what they've done the last 30, 40 years. But the last 7 years with Obama is out of control. Okay? We have no more due process. You know very well the National Defense Authorization Act. Now we can be arrested and indefinitely detained since 2012. They used to do that before too, trust me. But now they're doing the legality, they think. And now they want our guns. And why you think they want our guns? Because next they're going to go for your pensions, for your homes, for your bank accounts, and of course for your land. Because they can confiscate, and Agenda 21, Agenda 2030 will be the final goal of complete domination. So, I know this is the hour about guns. I should talk a little bit more about training, and we will now, about more outside ideas. But this is too important. We must understand what we are facing. So HR 4269 is something that I hope every one of you start to check it out, spread it around. I don't care if this Congress will not have the votes right now. Don't underestimate these roaches, because they never stop. That's the reality. They never stop. So we gotta start to call them, let them know at least, that we're not going to comply. If they want to start a civil war, if they want to start a second American Revolution, this is the right path. Keep going. Let them know. They need to understand we are serious. When they start to say maybe a couple 100,000 phone calls, say, screw you, Congressman, come and take it. Maybe they start something ringing to their ears. That maybe this is not England. This is not, Germany. This is not Italy. This is not Australia. We're still Americans here. Our founding fathers stood up against the tyranny of the king. Especially when they were coming for their guns. We will do the same. And I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anybody else. But I tell you, if a guy with an accent like myself, I was even born here, I'm ready to die. I'm not going to give up my guns. I'm not going to hide them. I'm not going to comply with any of this bull crap. Okay, I tell you from my heart. I'm going to die anyway one day. And I don't want to die immediately. I like to enjoy a little more life. But if they put me in the spot, that they want to put me in a spot that I need to comply as a slave, when I know that we have that right, in America, we have that right, it's the only place in the world, we have a Second Amendment, the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Don't start to tell me what type, how many rounds should I put in, if you semi-automatic, all this stuff. You already destroy our Bill of Rights, started since 1934 with the National Firearm Act. That's another story, but we will not give in more. We need to draw a line in the sand. This is a must. It's a must. So what I'm saying, if a guy like me, I don't have any parents who fought in any revolution or any civil war, I'm just a fresh immigrant, I'm ready to completely dedicate all my life and everything I have or I don't have for the principles that I'm not your slave. I hope, and I'm sure, many other Americans will do even better. Okay? So be ready. As I said, let's pray for peace, but let's prepare for the worst. Now, before we go ahead, I need to play one of the songs I like the most. Come and take it. When it comes to this type of topic, come and take it. And seriously, you have to try. And I'm not going to hide my gun, as I said. I'm not going to hide my rifle. It's going to be on me. The day that this become unlawful, I'm going to keep doing exactly what I do in the state of Arizona. Every day. I will carry my rifle with me and my handgun. And extra ammunition, as usually. And I'll enjoy my life. I enjoy my right. If any scum out there want to start the revolution, help yourself. I'm sure I may be gone first, but guess what? I'm not going to comply. I don't want to harm anybody. I'm telling you, I'm the most peaceful man you can find. I hate violence, but I also hate bullies. I also hate fascists. So that's the bottom line. We have to think right now. Come and take it. Musical lyrics by myself. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. And I remind you, if you want to support this show, since it is not exactly the typical show that you may listen to some commercial radio station, you can do it just going to my website, zanna.us. You can download any of my songs for just 99 cents. And I appreciate your help. Come and take it. You can find it anywhere, Amazon, iTunes, but go to my website, even better. And be ready for the second part of our number 2. We will talk about guns, ammunition deals, and training ideas. Come and take it.
Taste it. future. You and the words are like dope. If you want our guns, you want our souls. If you want our lives, here we stand in line. Come and take it. You're gonna like it. You're gonna feel like it's paradise. Come and take it. You're gonna get it. You're gonna taste it. One between your eyes. Come and take it. Come and take it. Come and take it. Come and take it. No more tears, no more fear. Let's have our last beer. Now time to fight. And freedom may never die. Come and take it. You're gonna like it. You're gonna feel like it's paradise. Come and take it. You're gonna get it. You're gonna taste it. One between your eyes. Come and take it. 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 Come and take it.
Wait for Congress to do its job. So where they won't act, I will. And I've told my administration, we're going to look every single day to figure out what we can do without Congress. What can we do without?
And the first thing that dictator did, he gave the people of the Philippines 2 weeks to turn in all their guns or it was the death penalty.
I have 2 words for you. Predator drones.
And that exactly from the mouth of the devil, Obama. So, all I can say, honestly, sometimes I don't want to be on the air. Sometimes I'm so tired and I have so much stuff to do. I don't know. I enjoy doing what I'm doing, but I'm telling you, there are a lot of things I have to do. But I really take this opportunity. It's like an instrument, like a megaphone that I have, to try to use every little bit of power that this station has, broadcasting, and also the internet, of course. We have many, many listeners from around the world, and I'm so glad about that. This message of freedom belongs to everybody, not just to America. I want to use this as an opportunity. Even I'm tired, even sometimes I'm disgusted to talk about these things because I sleep and eat and dream. I have nightmares over this stuff. It's almost like non-stop. But I do this because I really think, even if I can do a little bit of help to share this information, trying to prepare and trying to warn our fellow humans, our fellow Americans, what's already here, the tyranny that we are facing, I use this as a duty. I do it as my civic duty. That's why I'm here. That's why I want to use this hour in the best way I can. So let's not waste time. Let's start to think about what we need to do here. First of all, ammunition. I want to give you a deal, okay? There is never enough ammunition. You think you got enough, you never enough. As I said, how much ammunition should you have? As much as you can afford after you pay your basic bills. And then how much your ground, how much your floor can handle. So hopefully you live in a cement house with cement floors, okay? That's what I say. Buy as much as you can because you're never going to get wrong. Because after all, it's an investment. Don't forget, it's going to go up. Anyway, there is an incredible deal on Centerfire System, centerfiresystems.com. Another day, probably till tomorrow. If you like to train with 9 millimeters and, there are a lot of ammo out there, and these are probably not the best. I mean, I use them just for training, okay? They're kind of dirty, but they really are, my opinion, they work great. Center fire systems, they are Tula ammunition from Russia, steel cased, 115 grains, and you can get them for like $169 for 1,000 rounds, free shipping. Free shipping. That's all I can say. Center Fire Systems. And I remind you that this is not a sponsor, okay? I do this for myself. Normally, I like to go out there, and that's what I do. I find deals, and whatever I find for me, I'm going to give it to you. Simple as that. So, that's something to consider. Now, unfortunately, you know, I wish we have a chance to all have at least a rifle. Every American, every law-abiding American, at least a rifle with at least 20 magazines and at least 5,000 rounds, okay? And also gear how to carry that. And if I could give you that type of one rifle, would be, it's up to you. Whatever you are, whatever works for you, whatever you like. But right now, I'm telling you, if you can get only one rifle only, that also is not exactly the battlefield rifle like a 308, like is my ideal. But if you need to get one only that could go for everybody, from your wife, from your boys, from yourself, get an AK-47 powder, AKM. You know, they're not really AK-47, they're semi-automatic, but get at least one and get as many rounds as you can afford. It's easy to operate, it's easy to train with. And from 0 to 200 yards, and also from close situations, even for home defense. Yes, you have over penetration with that, okay? Probably shotgun would be better. But if you have only one thing, stick with the rifle. Okay, that's the bottom line. Now, that's my I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I really feel that there is the need for every law-abiding American. Every law-abiding human being around the world, you should have at least a rifle right now, and as much ammo as you can get, and training. That's because I feel that tyranny is really ready to jump on us anytime. And it's not going to be just in America. They will use this tyranny all over the world. I have that feeling. Now, training idea. You know, I want to remind you that my book, Handgun Training for Self-Defense, is going to be ready almost any time. I'm having some help from friends in editing and giving me input. So before I put it on out there, available to the world, I'm having a lot of great feedback, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you. So I'm start to do the photo session next week. So we're going to start to have at least a little bit of all the photos, and then it's going to be out. Anyway, I want to share with you, free, to give you an idea what is in this book, some other chapters. Because after all, you know, I wrote this book as an act of love. It's going to be available almost for free, $2.99, okay? I mean, there are more than 120 pages with photos. It took me 14 months to put it together. And it took me a lot of time because also I do other things during the day. I write songs, I work, I have businesses, I do the radio show. So normally when I write a book at night, okay, and I want really to do it because my goal is to share the information that I learn to anyone out there for the price of a coffee, okay? So if you are curious about the book, go to handguntraining.tv and join my newsletter. So as the book will be available, I will send it to you. Now, let's start to talk about the basic operation that I see sometimes that is missing from gun owners when they touch a gun or when somebody give them a gun. Is a chamber check, a magazine check. I really believe this is from my book, okay? I'm just now reminding what I wrote. I don't even read, I pretty much is my mind. It is very pretty much fundamental that any one of us should verify the condition of the gun. Every time you're not sure, or if somebody hands you the gun. Let's say, for example, you are at the gun shop, or a friend say, hey, come on, I checked the gun, it's empty, I already checked it, check it out. Doesn't matter, you always treat it as loaded, as you know that. But more important, if somebody hands you a gun, what do? You do a chamber check, a mag check. First thing, make it like, I don't know, if you pray before you eat, before dinner or lunch, you pray. Same story. Somebody hand me a gun, I don't care, they already checked, I'll check it myself. Chamber check, a mag check. That's for safety, number one. More important, every morning, whenever you put your gun into your holster, if you do that, I do that. Every time I wake up in the morning, I wear my pants, and every pair of my pants around the house, there is at least my holster. And every pant comes with a holster and a gun, and magazine with pouches. So anyway, what do? I carry my gun always with a round in the chamber. And I want to be sure that the round is there every morning. Even I already did the operation the night before, I already checked it. I want to be sure it's still there. Because that gun, that day, may be the round, the gun that I need loaded, and that round in the chamber may be the round that may save my life. It's called like, a front side, they call it a 2 seconds chip insurance. It's a chip insurance. All you have to do is check the chamber. Now, why is so important that you check the chamber? Let's say you go out, let's say also you go to a situation that you need to be sure, if you have the chance to check the chamber, let's say you go towards, let's say in a situation that may be dangerous or something you know is wrong. I want to be sure that if I had to squeeze the trigger, it's going to be a bang, not a click. And I want to check also the magazine to be sure that there are rounds in that magazine. The next round, following the round in the chamber, is going to be their perfect state. It is not damaged. So that's something basic for safety and also for be sure that your gun is functioning. Now, how do you do a chamber check and a mag check? There are 3 different basic guns, okay? We got guns like the Glock, Springfield Armory XD, Smith & Wesson MP, semi-automatic like that. Let's work with that first. It's the easiest way. You start from the ready position. You keep both hands on the weapon. Keep your finger off the trigger, and you point the weapon to a safe direction, okay? That means 45 degrees down towards the ground. Then at that point, you bring your weapon close to your body, okay? Your work area. At that point, in this way, when you bring your gun close to your body, you have a better leverage and you can have better control. Remember, your finger straight and muzzle in a safe direction. Now at that point, you move your trigger finger away from the slide. Okay? And with your support hand, you grasp the slide, you hold the slide and move it back about ½ inch. So enough that you can see into the chamber. If you see the brass, it means that the weapon is loaded. If there is no brass, it means the weapon is not loaded. Simple as that. Okay? Now, I'm not going to go now which way you can use the hand. There are 3 different ways you can use the hand to move the slide back. That's details you can see in the book, okay? But that's the basic concept. Now, once you verify the condition of the chamber, are you going to pull back the slide fully forward? You want to be sure that it goes back into battery, okay? And at that point, you rotate your hand that is holding the gun a little bit around the grip, especially if your hand is not big enough, so you can use your thumb to push the magazine release. At that point, you let the magazine go out. You index in the magazine. That means you're holding your finger. It's going to touch the tip of the bullet, index in the magazine. And you see your magazine in your hand, and you check how many rounds do you have. And you want to be sure the next round available in the magazine is good, is in perfect shape. That's something you should do every time you start your shooting session and every time you finish. You want to be sure that you are in perfect condition with the magazine, with ammunition, and the round in the chamber. That's the way I do it. Then for other guns like revolvers, the same concept you applied with revolvers, okay? It's a little easier, of course, but think about it. Now, if there is not much light, let's say you're in the dark, there is a way to do that. All you have to do, you insert the trigger finger in the chamber, and after you can touch if there is a round or not. You can use this concept not just with the handgun, for the handgun, but also with rifle, shotgun. It's important. It's very important. This is not a game. We are counting on our weapon to be there available for us if we need it in the perfect condition. Now, another question I've been received many times. Should we carry a a round in the chamber or not? Well, that's up to you. But I tell you, the moment that you decide to carry a gun, why you don't want to have a round in the chamber? People say, oh, it's kind of dangerous. And that's exactly the idea. A gun should be dangerous. Not for you, but for the bad person. Let me give you the situation. I know sometimes I heard this Israeli, they do military, the round not in the chamber. It's a stupid idea, seriously. If you are not confident to carry a gun with a round in the chamber, probably you shouldn't carry a gun at all. Okay? Don't even bother about it. The idea is very simple. You have a gun, handgun on you, as is a reactive tool. That means you're going to have probably a split of a second when you're going to be attacked to react and to deliver the gun into the fight. To present a gun into a fight without a round in the chamber, you need probably an extra 1.5 seconds just to deliver the gun out, present the gun to the fight, and then put the round in the chamber, rack the slide. You really think under stress, if somebody attack you or try to jump on you, you're going to have that type of opportunity? You may probably have maybe less than a second. So, my humble opinion, maybe if you're in military, maybe if you are on the battlefield and you know that, okay, now you're going to a war zone, round in the chamber, maybe that may work. But if you are in a civilian environment or in a home environment, that somebody could completely break the door anytime, or you're walking on the street, they may jump on you, it's not really a smart idea, in my opinion, humble opinion, to have a gun without round in the chamber. Seriously. Somebody can jump on you or can run towards you with their hand, with a knife, 21 feet in less than 1.5 seconds, okay? Seriously. So, yes, train to have a round in the chamber, and remember, your brain and your finger is the main safety. So, if you want to have safety, it's not about external safety, it's your finger and your training and your brain. Okay, that's the very important thing. Now, said that, let's talk about some other topics, because I really want to use this for practical things that any one of you, any one of us can use, okay? Maybe already many of you may already know this stuff, and that's great. I'm glad. But I'm trying to reach out people that they're new, because that's the goal. We want to have new people, especially moms. Why I want moms? Why I want ladies? Because the moms, the mothers, are going to be the new generation of people who will train the new generation of Americans. I mean, we need mothers and fathers, of course, but the mom is very important, because if the mom doesn't understand the Second Amendment, it's going to be a very hard situation in the family with the father who wants to maybe share the training with the children. So we need to have mothers and fathers on the same page. And the mother, I think, has a really important role to train herself, because we need mothers that are able to defend themselves and defend the children. After all, maybe the husband is at work, so the mom's going to be alone. She better have some training, okay? And don't underestimate women in a battle, okay? There are women that they can fight as good as men, even better. I'm telling you. All right, so I want to go some basics, because sometimes I hear questions and I realize that maybe we can talk between people. We know this stuff, but maybe there are people say, what are you talking about? I don't know this. First question is a little bit of information about semi-automatics. Because sometimes, there's a lot of misinformation, and sometimes that people want to know more, but they are almost afraid to ask, okay? So I'm not afraid to share, and I'm not afraid to ask if I don't know. Anyway, put it this way, semi-automatic and revolvers, two different beasts. Yes, they are both handguns, but semi-automatics, in my opinion, that's the way to go. At the end of the day, though, don't forget, whatever gun you have, if you train, you can be proficient. So, even if you have a semi-automatic, but if you don't train, it's nothing, doesn't mean nothing. So, anyway, semi-automatic, we can divide semi-automatic in about 3 basic types, okay? First one is, first of all, let's say exactly what is a semi-automatic, okay? Semi-automatic, it's a gun, okay, that has normally a magazine. It has a magazine. It means a magazine that, not a clip, a magazine that carries the ammunition. And every time you squeeze the trigger, it's going to reload another round, okay? Normally they're much faster to reload. That's a fact. And they have more rounds, okay, than the revolver. Normally the average revolver may have 5 or 6 rounds. Semi-automatic, depends on which type of gun, but we can go even 17 rounds, for example, like the Glock 17, okay? But anyway, we had 3 different basic categories. First of all, single action, semi-automatic. If you know probably the 1911, that's the most famous model, okay? Colt model of 1911. And normally they can be in 48, semi-automatic, automatic Colt pistol, ACP, or you can have 9mm, 38 Super, or 40 Smith & Wesson, okay? But normally the 1911 is a 45 semi-automatic. It's a great gun. I think it's very good in the hands of a trained person. But remember, we have a single action here. That what it does, it's very light on the trigger. Okay, you have a little trigger that doesn't take much. It's like the single action revolver. When the hammer is cocked back, the gun, boom, just a little light touch on the trigger and boom, it fires. Yes, the 1911, you have a mechanical safety switch that you can use when the firearm is carried, but it's very sensitive gun. And it's great, it's fast. All I'm saying though, I say training is very, very much important, like any gun. Now, then there are other guns, like, for example, double action only, semi-automatic, okay? These are a little bit like, they feel like semi-automatic, should be like double action revolvers. So you have a trigger, you need much more pressure on the trigger, little more safe if you're not really that expert in the situation, okay? I like those. I mean, honestly, I said my preferred gun it's the Glock. Okay, so it's round in the chamber, no external safety, and yes, you have a trigger. The first round, when you push the trigger, squeeze the trigger, it's a little bit tougher than, of course, a 1911 with different pounds. But then with the reset, with the trigger reset, I can have very light trigger there too with the training. So, something to consider. Then you have double action, single action semi-automatics. And that's, for example, like the Beretta, okay? Or like the SIGs 226. They're great guns, don't get me wrong. I mean, only problem, even there, training. And you must somehow completely become part of that gun. So we're talking about that you don't have only just a safety, but also you have this decocking mechanism that you must understand and incorporate in your muscle memory. So that's why I say whatever gun you have, stick with that. If you have 10 guns, that's fine. You can have fun with the other 9, enjoy them. Myself, I have fun once in a while, but when I train, what I carry is the same gun that I train with. Because under stress, you're going to have one split of a second to completely go and be on autopilot. And what if today you're carrying, for example, a Beretta, and the day after you're carrying, let's say, I don't know, a Glock? Your muscle memory, if you're still used to the semi-automatic Beretta style, you know that you have, first of all, the safety or the different type of trigger, that's going to be difficult for your body to understand what gun do you carry at the moment. At least I don't want to think when I have to deliver the gun. So anyway, but regardless, guys, whatever you get, train with that. That's the bottom line. So that's enough for the gun part. Now, there is a lot of much more information I want to share with you. I want to give you really solid information, okay? Yes, the news, they are very important. We must know our rights. We must try to always fight in a peaceful way within the system, how to stop these criminals, but also we must have a B plan. The B plan is that if something start to go really completely rogue, like they're doing, we must decide, we must have the tools to defend our freedom. So I want to give you another little bit of more from my book, okay? Handgun Training for Self-Defense. And I said, go to handguntraining.tv and join my newsletter so you will know exactly when the book is available. I want to just shortly talk a little bit about the grip, okay, with the handgun. A proper grip is fundamental to control the recoil and the muzzle flip, okay? And first of all, you got to start with the firing hand. The firing hand is the hand that holds the gun, okay? The proper grip starts when you place your firing hand as high as possible on the frame of the weapon. You don't want to allow any gap between the tang of the handgun and the web of your hand. That's the most important first step you do. If you do not position your hand as high as possible, the first time you touch the gun, that means, let's say, step number 1, you go for your gun, you must dare grip it right, as high as possible, because after you're not going to move it anymore. So if you don't do it right, you will not be able to control the muzzle flip of the weapon, as you should. Then at the point your finger trigger is straight, you want to put along the side of the frame. And always want to touch the reference point, okay? The remaining 3 fingers, you just wrap them around the frame. The thumb is parallel to the top of the frame, okay? So it's going to stay away from the magazine release button, and you also allow the trigger finger to operate freely. Now, if you have a 1911, you should put the thumb on top of the safety lever. Very important how you hold your gun. You don't want to shake your gun like you're squeezing it. You want to do like you were shaking a hand to a friend. You want to do firmly, but you want to avoid over gripping. Little secret, if you see that the front, the side start to shake, means that you're gripping it too hard. Now, you want to lock your wrist straight in line with your gun. This is very fundamental if you want to control the recoil. At this point, the support hand goes on top of the firing hand, fingers on fingers, thumbs on thumbs. And the support hand thumb is high and relaxed on top of the thumb of the firing hand that we already knew how we put it on, straight along the slide of the handgun. Now we want to adopt the isometric tension. That means your support hand creates a pull while your firing hand pushes forward. You create 2 opposite movements to this sort of isometric tension to create this sort of position, become very stable, and holds your handgun and pretty much can control the recoil. Your firing shoulder, lock it, and you practice this concept also with your empty hands. You don't need to have a handgun to do this. This is very important. It's the foundation, how to grip your gun. Okay? It's like, you cannot learn how to run till you learn first how to walk. And my goal is to try to share this information. And by the way, I don't have the ambition that because you listen to me, what I'm telling you, what I learn, that you're going to do it. You need training. You need to find an instructor. You need to find somebody that can at least give you the basic, the foundation, okay? All I can give you is the idea, what I learned, and I hope you can somehow get information for yourself in your way. If you're interested to go to front sight, that's one of the opportunity that I had, okay? And I have. I'm a life member, and feel free to contact me. I can help you out. And this is not a sponsor. I'm doing this as a life member. I have access to memberships that I can somehow share. So you can contact me to lovegunsfreedom.com, my website, send me an email, and I'll help you out. We got to go training. I want you trained. That's the most important thing now. We need to have law-abiding citizens trained. All right, we're almost at the end. Another show, another Sunday. Today, it's been holiday. Honestly, I was tempted to just stay relax and not come around because after all everybody else is having their day off. But when I hear the news of what's going on, I'm telling you, I really felt that I needed to be here, especially at least to share the bad news of what's going on with the legislation, the attempted pieces of unconstitutional laws they're trying to pass at all levels, California state and federal level, Obama executive orders. It's too important. You never know what's going to be the last show. So I wanted to use this opportunity to share with you what's going on and remind you, please, it's a serious matter. We need to defend freedom in every way we can. Let's start to use our First Amendment, please. Be active. Don't be afraid, but also have a big plan. Don't forget to train, share the knowledge, and buy ammunition. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. And don't forget, I say again, if you want to support this show, I'm not relying on corporate sponsors. By design, by choice. I want to be free to say whatever I want. I need your help though. Go to zannaart.com, zannaart.com, and you can see what I do for a living. One of the things I do paintings and I do write songs. You can download any of my songs for 99 cents. I appreciate your help. Ready for our number 3. It's going to be very interesting. It's about love. Very powerful guest, especially the final part of the hour. A woman who's living in the middle of nowhere with a very serious disease and desperately needs our help. Don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman,
I'm not afraid,
and a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid,
Italian by birth,
I'm not afraid,
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on United States.FM network.
Have you ever met someone on an online dating site and thought, wow, this guy is perfect for me, or she is simply amazing, only to find out they were hiding a deep, dark secret? They plan to vote for Hillary. FreedomLovers.us was created for singles who want to exchange ideas and a love for freedom. People who are looking for solutions to create and defend freedom in the real world, and at the same time getting that once-in-a-lifetime chance to find their true soulmate. Whether you are interested in meeting your soulmate, making new friends, networking, or hanging out with that like-minded liberty lover, visit FreedomLovers.us. It's the first free dating site and community. So patriots, don't waste your time with other dating sites. FreedomLovers.us is the place where like-minded singles really click.
Here we go. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. This is the hour about love. In this hour, I like to talk about several topics. One of the topics that for me is really important. At this show, it is not just about me talking or sharing what I think or what I believe or what I think is right. Yes, of course. After all, this is my show. But my main goal was to have a forum where we can freely talk about everything. Okay, we can share different ideas, strategies, and for me, the main topic is always one. I believe in freedom. I believe in respecting each other. I believe that every human being should have the right to be happy, okay, and to fulfill its full potential. As simple as that. Now, a few weeks ago, a friend of mine from Arizona, Annette, told me that there is another friend. It's all about friends here, by the way. At least people that I know, okay, I respect. People that we share the same values, the same struggle. Anyway, his name is Matt Papke. That I already have him on the show a couple of times for different type of situations. And this time he wanted to talk to me about something that honestly I didn't understand very well. And if I went through, was something that wasn't for me. But this is exactly the point I want to prove to you guys. Even if something may be not for me, or I may not endorse it, doesn't mean that maybe it's not good for you. Or maybe doesn't mean that maybe you can understand it better. And that's why humbly I try to be here always with an open mind. And more important, I want you, listeners, give you the tools that you can select and decide if they can work for you. But the final goal is always one, to try to fulfill your best potential as a human being and to be free. That's the idea. Now, Matt is here. Matt Papke, from Phoenix, Arizona, or somewhere around there. Are you there?
Hey, Luca. Yeah, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. Last time we talked a little bit about the situation with the United Nations flag in Phoenix, and today we have a completely different topic. I want you to introduce yourself on this topic, about this topic, and in, let's say, headline. What are we talking tonight? What is exactly the headline of this topic that you want to share with us?
Sure. Life-changing information.
Okay.
There's 3 goals in life leadership. One is to build a class of leaders. One is to build an entrepreneurial class. And the other is to get back to Thomas Jefferson's self-directed form of education.
Okay. And this type of philosophy, if you want to call it, or let's say strategy, okay, is connected to something that you became aware recently. I mean, what is exactly you try to promote? Because, by the way, I want to give a warning to my listeners. This is not a sponsor, and do you agree with me? You are not my sponsor. I mean, I'm just doing this because I want to share information. So, and at the same time, even Matt, it is not promoting something that as a sponsor, but I wanted him as information for you guys. Also, it's something that I'm not even endorsing it, but I want to be here listening, and I want to, more important, you listeners, understand what he's going to try to say. So, when did you start to get involved in this type of philosophy, or whatever you want to call it, system?
Sure. No, I got involved in life leadership in February of this year.
Okay.
It was a really difficult time for me. I had just gotten kicked out of the house where my baby and Angela were living, and I was just devastated, Luca. I mean, I came from a broken home, and I always swore that I would never allow my kids to live or have a broken home, and here I was continuing that cycle, and it was horrible. It was horrible, and she kicked me out, but she still had hope, and she saw something in me that I guess she believed in. And look, I did counseling because I got kicked out in December of 2014.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, I earned it. What can I say? I wasn't being a good spouse. And I went to counseling, couples counseling. I spent a ton of money, sitting on some guy's couch talking about all of my problems, and nothing really changed.
Wow.
I mean, it was kind of just, funding his fun, I guess. And then Shane Krauser called on me one day and said, "Matt, you got to come check this out." And I went, and I respected him, and I was like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's I don't know if that's for me, kind of thing, but I respect you enough, so I got some content. And he said, "Well, what do you need help with?" And I said, I need help with my family. I'm just broken right now. Like, I didn't even want to get out of bed.
Wow.
It was just horrible. I didn't get to see I was seeing my baby every single day and went to seeing her once a week maybe.
Oh my gosh.
It was horrible. So within a month of me listening to the family relationship CDs, Angela said, "Matt, what are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, you're doing something different. I mean, I want to be around you now." And I was like, I'm just listening to these CDs. And, I listened to people that had success with relationships. Cause I had, Luca, I mean, I don't know about you, but I didn't have, I had a broken home. My dad worked all the time. I mean, they loved me. It wasn't that. They just didn't know how to love each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a tough environment.
Oh, I
so
understand.
that's all I knew.
Me too. I grew up.
I'm surrounding. Yeah, you too, right?
Oh, I grew up in a completely, devastated family. As much as my mother always was very good to me and my brother, but I grew up pretty much in military schools and boarding school for a reason, because I didn't have a father around. That's the bottom line. But I understand what you're saying. Please continue. It's very interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so we were very similar in that way. My dad was a police officer, so he was never home, and. So, moral of the story is it saved my family. Angela and I are talking about getting married, and I'm moving back in next week.
Wow.
And I got to spend Christmas with them and my baby, and we see each other almost every day now. And, it is 100% due to me plugging into this life-changing material. And Angela would tell you the same thing. They're just people who are preaching fundamental, family values that have just been lost on the world.
Okay, let me sum it up. Make it simple for me and for listeners. Probably they're smarter than I am, but just to keep it simple for everybody, it's a system. It's like an educational system. It's like information mostly. Am I right or wrong?
You're 100% correct. It's self-guided education. There's 8 different topics we focus on.
So you can buy, for example, now let's start first of all to get a website where people can also look for these. I think there are books, there are audio CDs. What exactly are? So they are material that information material like audio or CDs. What you can get mostly? What is the item? CD you can buy?
Yeah, sure. There's thousands of different products. Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady are the two founders. Okay. They founded about 4 years ago, and there's 300,000 members currently. Okay, it is a massive organization. The content on there is simply stunning. The Freedom series just blows my mind every time I listen to it. But the thing I want to point out here is Orrin Woodward, Chris Brady have been ranked by Inc. magazine as 2 of the top 100 most influential leaders of all time, either living or dead. Orrin's number 20 and Chris is number 39.
Wow.
So the number of individuals that have given these talks is beyond exceptional. I mean, these are people that truly have built lives that have purpose and are creating legacies. And it's just amazing. I mean, I hate to sound like an evangelical, but that's what it is. It's changed my life.
If it's you are the testimony of yourself, that's the most powerful thing. I always say that. Every time before I want to promote something or I want to go out, I always try to test it on myself. I did it on Pro Tandem, and I'm very excited and thankful to Annette gave me that opportunity. That's why I'm doing it. Now this was something new, and I like to listen. And more important, I want to give the opportunity to the listeners to have an opportunity. That's the bottom line. Question, more important, declaration. Give us the website where people can find out these products.
So it's a really long, so there's a personal website, right?
Okay,
so
go ahead.
I can give that to you in a link, and you can post it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, Luca, the best thing to do is just call my cell phone. It's 480-242-228.
Say it again one more time.
Anybody that's in 480-242-2208.
Okay.
Call me and we'll talk. It's just changed my life. It changed people in my team. It's changed their financial situation. These guys, they get it. They talk about gold and silver as money, and fiat currency is just fake. Yeah, they talk about the Federal Reserve and Jekyll Island.
Yeah, and I have a point. Many of us, I don't say everybody, but most of the people in this movement that we are trying to learn every day, or at least we commit ourselves to try to know what's really going on. We already know that the Federal Reserve is private and how the scam started in 1913. I mean, if you follow Ron Paul, you know most of these topics already, okay? What is exactly, because, there is also Amazon or any other type of bookstore. Normally I buy every week, I spend more money on books than ammunition lately. We can buy books and everywhere. But what is exactly that gives this organization the edge to have information that you cannot find somewhere else? That's my point.
That's a great question, and there's 2 answers to that. The first one is community. Freedom Fest. We put that on the last few years, Arizona Freedom Fest. Luca, we spent $15,000 flying in Pat Wood, Joel Skousen, Tom DeWeese, I can't remember the name from Anti-War, Angela Keaton from antiwar.com. We literally spent $15,000 flying all these people in and coming to speak. And it was an amazing event, don't get me wrong. But we only had 250 people show up.
I know, that was pretty
Do you think
tough.
Yeah, we didn't make $15,000. Wow. We lost a ton of money.
Yeah.
And throughout my activism, campaign for Dr. Ron Paul, campaign for city council, campaigning, just for liberty, I have spent so much money, and I know so many people that have spent so much money and put in their hard-earned, their lives into these things and gotten nothing in return other than maybe, feel good or a pat on the back.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity to monetize it. There's an individual in our organization who within 1 year is creating a six-figure income.
Okay,
so the monetization element is massive in this community that we surround ourselves. I mean, let's talk about New Year's resolutions, right? Those are coming up. Everybody's like, I want to lose weight. I want to, stop smoking. I want to stop eating cake all the time. I want to get economically fit.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever thing they have, if they don't have a support system, how much of a chance at success do they have? Tonight I just spoke at an event where we had some of the team and we did a house plan, and we had all these people that are working together to accomplish the same goal of improving their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And tomorrow night I'll speak at another one, and Saturday we're doing training. But there are so many opportunities to meet these individuals, and we have meetings of 500 people just in the East Valley alone. I've never been involved in any single political anything other than Paul Fest that you could get more than 30, 40 people showing up consistently.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a network. It's also a network of like-minded people, if we can say that, right?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Okay. Now, question, and there is
absolutely.
also the aspect beside that for people like, for example, want to learn, and you said there are three different main topics. I'm just trying to be sure I got it right down right. One is for personal, for your personal life, family. The other one is for business or the spirit of to be an entrepreneur. Okay, that's the bottom line, and to be free and that economically independent. And then the other one is about the principles of freedom. Beside those three type of topics, everybody can buy, or at least can acquire. You can buy online. I'm sure this information. Then there is the other part that you can become like some sort of a beacon in your community, spreading this concept, and also you make money, and you make a living, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, got it. So now, try to be sure that so that's the opportunity for people. Now, I'm sure, first of all, try to give whatever website you have, let's try to spell it out, and I will post it, by the way, on today's show on lovegunsfreedom.com, because when I try to talk about topics, I want the people to verify and do their own researches. So give a website, whatever website we can give out now, then I will post it on my website, lovegunsfreedom.com, so people at least have a chance to take a look and learn and decide what they want to do with this. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's life. Sorry, let me sit in my chest. Lifeleadership.com. And then I'll post my personal one to you.
Okay.
Here shortly.
Okay, I'll post it on today. Life Leadership. Say again, my brain is being contaminated with aluminum.
It's lifeleadership.com.
Lifeleadership.com. Perfect. Listen, this is exactly why I want everybody out there listening to the show. If you have an idea, if you have some suggestion, a strategy, whatever we think that we can use to regain our freedoms and to also live better and to be as free human beings fulfilling our main basic needs, and one of that is be free and be happy, okay? Unfortunately, the globalists, they want us ignorant. They want us, of course, poor, broke. That's why they're destroying all the middle class. And, of course, they want us dependent. So when I bring to you guys Protan, because I really believe it, I try it out, and I think it's good for your health, and it's good also for your pocket. Can give you an opportunity to grow up. This one I never tested out. I don't know much, but I wanted to bring Matt. That is the person that is doing it. And I say, learn it, or at least test it, or at least see what's going on. And then, of course, everybody can decide. Now, what is the final? I want to give you the floor for the last 2 minutes. If you want to give a message, something that could be something, I don't know, to make the listeners curious about it, or maybe just think more about even the business opportunity. I give you the floor.
So there is nothing more viable as far as changing our nation than building an entrepreneurial leadership revolution. Our nation was founded by individuals who got money out of the way so that they could fund the Revolutionary War. The 58 signers of the Declaration of Independence, they weren't paupers. They weren't out on the street begging for money. They were business owners. They defended freedom because the British were encroaching on their way of life and their liberty. This is how we do it. It's a grassroots. We're not going to elect anyone to fix anything. This is grassroots. It's not top down. It's bottom up. It's self-directed education. We talk about finance. We tell people get out of debt, stay out of debt. The Federal Reserve is neither federal nor has any reserves. Gold and silver are real money. We talk about, the myth of the inflation, what it really is. Like the hardcore financial principles that have been tested throughout millennia, we promote. Get out of debt, stay out of debt. Don't buy things with money you don't have. You're not getting that education in school. They're telling you to go get yourself a good credit score so you can be an asset on somebody's balance sheet.
Yeah.
We talk about freedom, making sure that we understand that freedom isn't free, that the Magna Carta just had its 800th anniversary, and there wasn't anything on the news about it at all. It's just disgusting. But you plug into life leadership, you're going to be listening to audios about the Magna Carta. It goes that deep. It goes into Rome when Diocletian came into power and inflated the money supply by taking the gold out of the money and replacing it with zinc. And then how he put price controls in place because the merchants rebelled. I mean, it gets deep in the history. It's little bits of truth over time, working with a community of people that are genuinely trying to improve their lives through faith, family, freedom, fitness, friendships, fun, and finance. And there's so much, Luca, there's so much more than I'm able to talk about in a short amount of time. But you gotta dig into it, give me a call. This is the best opportunity I've ever found between running for office, waving signs for Ron Paul, doing all that stuff. We talk about people about getting them out of debt, getting their house in order, and then teaching them about liberty.
Perfect. So say one more time, the last time, the main website, and then your phone number, and we're ready to go. Go ahead.
Sure. It's lifeleadership.com, and my phone number is 480-242-2208.
Perfect, Matt. I appreciate it. And as I said, please, if you have any ideas, we are here to share ideas. Now, talking about business and how we can pay bills here. I really appreciate your help, listeners, because as you see, when I bring you guests, I don't bring you sponsors that I must pretty much follow whatever they say is the truth. I question everything. And I bring you sometimes people that I don't even know really what we're talking about. My only goal is to bring you things that can be helpful, can be useful, that I believe that can really help you out. By the end of the day, somebody got to pay the bills. I ask for your help. I ask for your help, first of all, if you're listening to this show through KTOX 1340 AM, support the station. I really appreciate it because they give me this great opportunity to have complete freedom of speech here. And also for me, since I'm an independent producer, if you want to support to keep this show free, that now is becoming more and more all over the world. This is no more a local show. We have listeners all over Europe. I see it. It's amazing. In Australia. Please. Go to my website, at least one on my website. One is Zanna, Z-A-N-N-A-A-R-T, art.com. You can see what I do for a living. Besides painting with my gun, I like to write songs. I have more than 100 songs. You can download any of my songs from my website or from Amazon or anywhere you like it for just 99 cents. Doing so, for just $1, you can help this show.
sublime, and all I bring with me are love and our dreams, the memories of our lives. When the day will come, I wanna be with you. I wanna raise my eyes to the skies, to the sky. When the day will come, be with you. Yeah, I wanna raise my eyes. We will fly. When the day will come, I wanna be with you. I wanna raise my eyes. We will fly.
This is the final hour, and this is the final segment of today's show. Is the hour about love. When I envisioned this show, Love, Guns, and Freedom, I envisioned something that was more than just a talk about guns, of course, and ideals of freedom. It was the idea that, after all, the main fuel was going to feed our will to be free. It's also, especially, it's love. Love is the engine of everything. That's why I think this show is kind of different from other shows out there. We don't talk just about guns or rights and how to defeat a new world order. I think really the first thing we need to know to defeat, it's our compulsions to selfishness. So the idea is to help each other. It's a very important fundamental component of our humanity. I believe that. After all, this is just an humble radio show. It started like locally, and it's still technically on the station, a local show. But what I really discovered the last few months, the last 2 years since I've been on the air, that through the internet, I'm reaching out to many more people from around the world, from Australia to Scotland to Germany to Italy, and of course all over the States. Now, today, we're going to go back a little local. It is still Arizona, this part of Arizona, at least the northwest part of Arizona. And it's a very interesting story that I think it's very important that maybe we can help out. But first we need to learn a little more. And why I think it's important that we, the people, we get involved. Because I do not believe really in government, as you know. Government is not the answer to our problems. And even when the government trying to help, unfortunately is always destroying somebody else's life. Because it uses coercion to steal from others to give to somebody else. What I really believe that we as human beings, we should have the quality to help each other, especially when somebody needs help. And that's as an act of love, as an act of free will. That's where I am. So first of all, I wanted to use this part of the show to share a story that I think for sure deserves the attention about a woman who's living right now in the middle of nowhere, in a very harsh conditions, with nothing. And why and how did he get to that point? We'll find out now. And let me bring her on the show right now. Her name is Raven, and is broadcasting right now. Is calling from Seligman, Arizona. And probably it's pretty cold right there. Raven, are you there?
I am indeed.
Nice to meet you, Raven. And please, introduce yourself briefly. Just to let you know, we have about 30 minutes and I want to do the best out of this half hour to share your story, what happened to you, and why right now you're living pretty much in the middle of nowhere with no real home, And can I call you that you're doing like right now, like some sort of a homeless life? Or am I right or wrong?
You are right.
Okay. So you're a very educated woman, by the way. You got a background, and I know things can happen to any one of us. That's why I really wanted to see exactly what happened to you. Please, I give you the floor. Introduce yourself. Give us a little bit about your background and what happened to you. Go ahead.
My name is Raven Galarza. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I'm a mother of a 25-year-old and a grandmother of 2 grandbabies, with one on the way, making 3. I was married for 23 years to my educated husband, Michael. But what occurred along the way was originally I contracted Lyme's disease as a child, but I lived a very wonderful life, functional life, even though I suffered from a condition unbeknownst to me called environmental illness. It's also known as multiple chemical sensitivity, and has now been dubbed chemical AIDS. It's where the autoimmune system attacks itself and believes that everything incoming that is petrochemical, a fragrance, the solvents that we use for body care, the solvents we clean our homes with, the solvents that we build our homes with, our cars with, pretty much our industrialized life, is a foreign agent to my body that my body can't handle. And over the many years of living around the country and around the world, I've been dealing with this particular condition, and I didn't know it. I just knew that I was struggling. And about 11 years ago, I got very, very ill with the condition because I had taken, was living in Ohio, and I had bought a gorgeous farmhouse thinking that the country air would make me feel better. I could raise my daughter. And in this beautiful country home, we refurbished it with vinyl siding. We bought in farmland where they were crop dusting, and we didn't know it. There was mold in the house, and just some conditions that created an environment, not only in my body, but in my family's bodies, that threw the immune system off. And it created this environmental illness.
Wow.
Now, environmental illness is actually where multiple chemical sensitivity is a reaction, not an allergy, but a full body, all organs, all systems reaction to chemicals. My body is more environmentally sensitive, so therefore I react to the sun, I react to all radiation, I react to electromagnetic frequencies, I react to the shifts in the geological plates and what's going on beneath the surface of the earth. I am environmentally sensitive. I'm a hypersensitive.
Question.
So,
if I can stop you 1 second. First of all, I have a friend in East Arizona who has a similar problem like yours. She's sensitive to any chemicals. For example, she had to build herself a house specifically made with specific materials that she could be able to live. But it's a very rare, but unfortunately it's getting more and more common. Now, any doctor do you have a chance to go to a regular doctor and give you an official opinion about what you're talking here? Not because I believe in doctors, just for a record, just to have an idea.
Well, what's very interesting about the process that I went through was early on, I really, around 19 years old, food intolerances became very prevalent in my life. I had gone through some very big changes in my life, and suddenly I had food intolerances. And so at 19, I only knew to go to Western allopathic care. And what happened was they couldn't find anything other than what they termed chronic fatigue immune deficiency syndrome. And so I was diagnosed at 19 with that. But over the years, going to a few other allopathic doctors who could not really hone in on what was going on for me. Mm-hmm. And so I then said, this isn't working. And I went to naturopathic doctors. I went to homeopathic doctors. And the only doctors that I found that could sufficiently treat me without diagnosis, without a label, was acupuncturists. So when I was living in Chicago, I just went to an acupuncturist who was able to transform my chronic fatigue syndrome into health and radiance and vibrancy. And so I was able to go to work. I was able to tolerate life, but I still found myself when I was in certain environments or certain foods, my body couldn't tolerate it. It wasn't until 10 years ago that I finally was diagnosed with, yes, this is chronic fatigue syndrome, but that exists because you have environmental illness.
Okay. Now, of course, what I understand, in this case, you could not continue to work, and you could not continue even to live in a regular home environment. So you also lost your job. That's how it happened, right? When did you exactly lose your job? How long ago?
When I got critically ill 10 years ago, I'm living in the farmhouse. I no longer could work. I was an artist, and I made my living by repurposing furniture and doing my artwork on furnishings, on clothing, in medicine bags, and other mediums. And that's how I made my living, and I was married. So at that time, I nearly lost my life. I lost my home. I ended up being moved from Ohio back to Chicago for an acupuncturist because I was not able to eat any food for 33 days, and I wasn't able to sleep even 5 minutes for 24 days a night.
Oh my gosh.
My body was shutting down, and I was not able to find any kind of means other than energy treatment. And so I went to Chicago for that treatment, which actually turned my life around and saved me. But it was not able to fix the immune system to the point where I could function. Now, I could take care of my family. I could live in some clean housing. But I left Chicago and moved to California thinking better air by the ocean. And I just happened to take an apartment with my family when a national fire came through. It was the worst national fire that year that came through Ojai, California, where I was living. And I was evacuated for 6 weeks for that fire, lost everything due to Monsanto flame retardants that put the fire out. I lost everything, couldn't move back to the house, ended up living in my van with my 16-year-old daughter, my husband, and 2 dogs in order to get fresh air down in Malibu, California.
Oh, my gosh. That's very sad. I mean, it's very harsh. You know, one thing I tell you, I'm just looking at right now through the page, let's see exactly the name of the website. It's called youcaring.com, youcaring.com/Raven Galarza. And I will also post on lovegunsfreedom.com this link, and you can see, I guess this is the place where you live right now, correct? You're building a new hut, but you live right now exactly, where do you live? Under the stars, or you have some sort of a metal building for what I see here?
That's right. In February, I was living in a yurt, and that seemed to be okay, but I couldn't handle any heat source. And because of that, moisture built up in the yurt and created mold. So February of 2014, I lost the yurt and I moved outside. And I just slept on a cot outside.
Oh, my gosh.
And, yes. And so in the springtime, I moved to a different area of my 40-acre land, and I just built a metal building that's 1/3 open so that there was fresh air for the summer. Wow. And I was trying to figure out, as you were saying earlier, what to build a house out of that wouldn't make me sick. And it wasn't until, with lots of research and time, I figured out that maybe cob house building would prove best for me, but uncertain. And so 4 months ago, I started collecting rocks from the roadside and building the foundation to a very small cob house and started cobbing. But it's taken me 4 months alone, pretty much, to build this thing, and the winter's come and it stopped me.
Yeah, I mean,
so I am still living outside in the wilderness.
I would like to say to the listeners that probably all this seems kind of unbelievable, at least very different. You know, after all, you know, you live in your home and you can go to sleep and you can eat everything you want, or it's almost surreal. But unfortunately, there are medical conditions out there, and I tell you because I had a person that I know personally that she's lucky enough that she was able to afford a contractor to build their home. But the point is, there are really crazy cases, call it like that. I mean, not in a way crazy as a mind crazy, but really almost hard to believe. Our body can react in a very strange way to some chemicals. They are very rare, but can happen. And the environment can be a very important thing that really we can reject. So, and it's almost a horror movie. It is a horror movie, because I tell you now, how old are you, if I can ask you this?
I'm now 53 years old.
So you're a woman, okay? You're a woman. You're a lady that is not like you anymore, like a teenager, and you're trying to play Indians and cowboys and sleeping outside under the stars, okay? This is a real life drama. I mean, nobody have fun to live in the middle of, right now you are in this area of Seligman, very rural, as I can see, with freezing temperature. How much was last night or today? I'm talking about degrees. How many degrees do we have right now?
It was 17 degrees last night, and when I woke up, my blankets were frozen with frost.
I mean, I'm amazed you're still alive. Seriously, I'm amazed that you still can function and you still have a lot of mental energy to even be strong and to keep persevering and resisting these adversities. And I give you a lot of really complete, moral support and also recognition. You have my respect, because this is very harsh for anybody. To do a night, to do a day would break down an average man. But to do this for a lifestyle, wow. And don't understand when you're going to start to see the sunrise, when it's going to be some light at the end of the tunnel. You're a really strong woman inside, and I give you the credit. I'm sure that you're going through tough times sometimes, but you're amazing what you've been doing so far. Now, there is a way that there is so much more to say, but I would like to first of all invite the listeners, even of course this is a radio show, to look with your eyes where we are. Because I will post on today's show, lovegunsfreedom.com. I will post it on the homepage, at the bottom of the page. This link, normally I don't do that, but I will do this for the situation. ucaring.com/Raven Galarza. But don't worry, you can go to lovegunsfreedom.com, the bottom page on today's show. I will post it there for at least a week, so at least people can see exactly what we're talking about here. By the way, this area in Seligman, I'm sure it's a private property. Is it private property, or you're somewhere on the middle of nowhere? Where are you located?
Yes, I'm 16 miles south off of I-40, and I do own this 40 acres of land. Okay,
at least you have that. At least you have that's your land, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good start, because at least, you have a place that nobody can throw you out, and, till you pay the blood money taxes, property tax, but that's another story. At least you got that one, that's your place. Now, your goal is to try to achieve a place where you can build that is compatible with your disease, or at least with your immune system. And, but now you stop in the middle of this, winter, that is hard to work, of course, when it's cold like this and freezing. And you need, of course, some help. I mean, we're talking about help. There could be donations, and could be also help with, maybe people wants to give you some hours of their life to even help you out to carry rocks. Would you accept that too?
Absolutely. And materials that are used that I can tolerate, I would do that as well. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Now I have some questions for you, because I'm sure many listeners say, wow, this is a very unique situation. You must feed yourself at least a couple of times a day, especially when it's cold. Probably you consume even more calories. Can you eat? What type of food can you eat, first of all? I'm just curious. Do you have some sort
At this point in my life, I can only tolerate organic food, because any pesticides would kill me.
Wow.
And I eat a very minimal amount of food. I eat maybe 2 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
I only eat chicken and turkey, and I eat some vegetables. Not all vegetables can my body tolerate.
Wow.
That's the limit of what I can eat.
Oh, I understand. If you're so sensitive to this, just on your skin, imagine when you put something that is processed or chemical in your body, can kill you. Now, you have no income. Am I right or wrong? I don't want to assume. I want to just try to figure it out.
I have absolutely no income. When I was married, I did try to apply for Social Security. I kept being denied. Our country, although recognizing environmental illness, multiple chemical sensitivity, it's a slow process. There's only 7 million people in this country that have this disease to one varying degree or another.
Mm-hmm.
But the United States of America is not willing to allow disability for this particular disease. So when people with this disease go in for disability, they go in for depression, anxiety, some other illness. I don't have those illnesses. I don't have those issues.
Yeah.
What I have is environmental illness. Now, my husband had stated to me that he would take care of me, but we have gotten a divorce.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, my income was gone. I still applied for Social Security, but now my body is too sick to go in and see the doctors that the Social Security Department asks me to do. They promise that they'll send the doctors out, but the doctors are refusing to come out. Therefore, they say I'm not willing or agreeing to meeting with the doctors, even though I'm standing outside their office waiting for them to come out.
Question. I want to go more in details because this is really a real drama story. I mean, you're stuck in the middle of nowhere. I know Seligman is a very remote area, can be also nice. I mean, I like this type of areas, but I like when I have a truck, four-wheel drive, and I can drive everywhere I want, and I got enough money for gas. But if I would be stranded without even $5 in my pocket, that would be a nightmare. Do you have a car? How do you move? How can you get around, first of all?
I have a van that I've had for 11 years. It is falling apart. It's cracked in the windshield. It's got an exhaust system issue. I will tell you the truth. I have not been off my land in 2 years.
Oh, my gosh.
Except for one time I was able to get into town, and I got so very ill going into town, driving in this only vehicle that I've been able to somewhat tolerate, but no longer can.
And I don't want to go into details because I don't want to give heads up to any, probably you don't have the money for insurance or registration. I don't know. I mean, that's something that is very dangerous too, to go around. The money for gas, Question now, how do you eat? I mean, where do you get food? I'm sure you don't have right now close to you a grocery store. And if you do, it's also hard to find good quality organic food and maybe also too expensive. How do you feed yourself, if I can ask you? I mean, I'm trying to get this also for the listeners, so at least they understand better what's going on with you.
The difficulty really is that the only food that I can get is either at a very small store in Kingman. I can get a little bit of meat, or I have to go to Flagstaff or Prescott to get food from Whole Foods. I have a friend who shares the ranch with me, a childhood friend. He will go to the store to get me food because I can't leave the land and drive. However, that being said, he doesn't have an income due to Arizona Social Security issue, so his mother was helping to support us while he's fighting Social Security, and then friendships, friends that have sent money, and they're just times, days that I've gone without food. Now, Tracy gets food from the food bank because he can eat anything.
Yeah.
And so he's living off of that. But for me, there are just times where I just don't have anything to eat, or there's donations where I'm eating. And if they don't come in, I don't eat. When we go to the store, we have to make sure that it's once a month so that we have the gas. And his mother will pay the car insurance so that we can get there.
Wow. Question now, you have a cell phone. That's a good start. It connects you to the rest of the world, and also I see that connects you to the internet. At least you still have this one, right? This is your cell phone. I mean, you're able to pay for the phone, I guess, right?
Tracy's mother's been paying for the cell phone for the last 2 years.
Wow.
So that we have access to one phone.
Wow. Now this is get more and more deeper and more I'm sorry, I don't want to use the word interesting. This is not interesting. This is disturbing. The fact that it's like almost living in some sort of a twilight zone. A woman trapped in the middle of nowhere with a very rare disease that unfortunately the system does not recognize. And out of the blue, you realize that even in America, the country that we are giving trillions of dollars to foreign aids all over the world, extorted by our tax dollar. I mean, think about how much money we are giving to Israel every year, or to Egypt, or to any other country. And we go in debt to get all these trillions. We had to ask the money from China and give it to somebody else. But we still have people living in our country that cannot even figure it out how they can put some food on their table, especially when they have situations that, unfortunately, it's easy to just put everything under the rug and say, what are you talking about? You can go to work. Maybe you need to go through this type of pain or to try that type of diseases to understand that sometimes things can happen to any one of us, and life can change to any one of us. nobody really is born as a bum or is born as a homeless. There are people that they had a great life and they were doing part of this society, and circumstances can happen to any one of us. And I tell you, I feel sorry really for you, and I hope we must. I'm just as a regular radio host and I have my humble show, but if I can help in any way I can, even just to say, if people want to do something, maybe they can be in contact with you and can come to visit you and know more what you're doing. Maybe they can give you some hours of their life supporting you to put this house together faster. So instead of doing it in 4 months by yourself, you're going to do maybe in a couple of weeks. Or maybe there is another way that maybe they can give you. Always believe the idea that it's better to give the opportunity to the people to learn how to fish than instead giving them fish. So maybe there's a way that maybe we can, just try to launch ideas out there. If people any type of idea that can give you some input, how to maybe have an income, maybe, homesteading, or anything that you could do as a work, even with your cell phone or with your computer, if you have access to a computer, and help out. Because you have a background. By the way, what is your professional background beside by the artist part, the decoration? Did you study at school when you were young? Any specific skill, any special degree, anything you have?
Well, when I was younger, I became a secretary.
Okay.
And that's how I worked. But and I worked in title companies and real estate and that sort of thing. But I became an artist, and that's what I did. And I raised my daughter. And then I got sick. I got sick when she was 12 years old with this disease that became full blown. So I haven't been able to truly manifest everything that I am capable of. But I'm a great artist, but I can't do my artwork.
Okay.
It's solvent, and I'm a writer. But I did want to say one thing to you, Luca, based on what you did say. When the fire came in California, we did go to organizations for help, like the American Red Cross and those sorts of things, and there was no help for the American citizens. We got no help during an evacuation for a fire. We got no funding to get back into a home or anything. It was really on us. Mm-hmm. And in fact, because of living in Malibu and camping in Malibu, we actually talked to Governor Schwarzenegger when he was governor. And he did try to help us, but we were moved back into the system, back to a homeless shelter, simply because we lost our home to a fire.
Yeah.
And I want you to know that since I've been on this land out here, I've called every agency, even Adult Protective Services, to say, I don't have water out here, I don't have food, I don't have housing, I don't have clothing. I need to take a shower, and I need help. I have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I have environmental illness. Will you help me? And twice I've called them, and they have come out twice and told me there's nothing that they're willing or capable of doing to help me with my disease. I'm on my own.
Wow.
It's going to family. You need to look to family. But so many people that have this disease are rejected by family because family doesn't know what to do, or in my circumstance, I just don't have family. And so I have a daughter, and that's it, and she can't help me. So when you don't have family and you are isolated due to your disease so that you cannot have a circle or a network of friends unless it's on the internet, then you're squeezed out of being able to get the help that you need. And the world itself is not willing to give up chemicals in order to love you, in order to be with you. People don't want to let go of what they shampoo their hair in or what they clean their house with. They don't want to make the changes of their own comfort. And so what happens with people like me, which have a 65% suicide rate,
yeah,
we end up killing ourselves when we get to the point in which I'm living outside, because you can't live isolated without a hug, without love, without somebody to talk to, without food, without clean water, without clothing.
I want to say something. No, let me tell you what. I'm amazed. People need to understand, visualize the situation. Nobody's so mass. Sometimes people like to think always the worst, or maybe the funny side, what do you want to call it? This is not fun. This is not somebody trying to be eccentric. To live in the middle of nowhere in freezing condition with no running water, with no any type, even a roof over your head. This is something that only if a person is really desperate, and only if you have some sort of a disease that really force you to be there. Seriously. And I'm amazed that you are still here talking to me and talking to us. And also you have a very good, strong energy in your voice. I can tell you, I don't know if I could be so strong after sleeping like that or not sleeping at all, freezing condition and probably eating poorly or not enough. And I'm telling you, I'm impressed with you. You are an example of the instinct of survival. All I can say, I would like to do something as I can. And as I said, this show, it's about love. And if we don't have love and compassion for our fellow human, all the rest doesn't matter. The guns don't matter. Freedom don't matter. Freedom from what? If we're insensitive to see a woman that is almost dying in the middle of the wilderness, with nobody's caring, we know for sure the government doesn't care. That's a fact. It's easy to slip through the cracks. That's part of the government. That's what they're good at. So it's our job to do something. I wanted to dedicate you as much time as I could today, and if I can, I would like to bring you back, maybe with some updates. And you're not that far from me. I don't go very often there, but I will make a point to at least come to see you in person. Maybe I can put a couple hours on my time to move rocks if I can. Meanwhile, I would like to say to my listeners, please, we spend and waste so much money on useless things. We can go to Starbucks if you go, wherever you go, and you can blast $5 for nothing. Nothing. To get sick. Do something. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'll go to lovegunsfreedom.com homepage. On the bottom on the homepage, I will put directly the link to this Help Raven Build Her Little Cub home, okay? And you can see with your own eyes the condition that I'm talking about. And if you believe that there is something that maybe your heart is going to tell you to do, you do it. I'm not telling you what to do. And I'm not saying that this is going to fix their problem. But now we need to look at 911. It's winter. People die in the cold. You need to have a little roof. At least that. And then we go day by day. And then we'll hope that it's going to be better days. And maybe she can find other solutions. But now I say, as a fellow American, as a fellow human being, that is living in one of the richest, or what used to be one of the wealthiest countries in the world. We are wasting money for everything around the world. We can maybe give a little bit of our own, since the government unfortunately doesn't do it. I want to give you the floor the last 60 seconds, and then I need to go. Please, Raven, say whatever you want to say, how people can reach you. If you want to give your phone number, it's up to you. Go ahead.
My phone number is 928-910-9473. And I could use loving care and compassion, great thoughts. I could use people to come out here and help me. And be careful about what you're wearing to do so. And I could use donations. I can use a couple of benefactors. I can use some guidance. But most of all, what I really need is people to have compassion and understanding. And when people come up with ideas and I say, I can't do it, it's not because I'm not willing. It's because my body can't do it. And I also want to say that when you're in the condition of having cancer and having environmental illness, it's really about recovery. Right now I'm trying to get a home. I'm trying to put food on the table. I'm trying to figure out a way to survive. But I also need to heal and recover. What keeps me alive is my grandchildren, my daughter, and my great, great friends that I stay in touch with over the phone. But outside of that, I really could use understanding and compassion, and so can the 7 other million citizens of America have the same compassion as well. Thank you so much, Luca.
Thank you. And guys, please go to lovegunsfreedom.com. Go to the link, as I said, check it out, use your brain, use your heart, and I really appreciate it. Now, for today, it's over. Another Sunday, another show. Kind of overwhelming. I'm supposed to be a little more detached when I do the show, but I get involved in everything I say. This is not a show for entertainment. This is a show about sharing life, sharing the problems that we are facing as humanity, and at the same time trying to fix them as we can, or at least attempting. And sometimes become very personal in everything. It's not just about this story, about every topic I talk. I really mean it for me. It's part of my life. So anyway, I want to say thank you very much for listening, and God's willing, I will talk to you next Sunday. I want to remind you again, this show, it is not like the government that extort the money out of your pocket with a gun in your face. We don't do that. This is a show also about your help. If you want to keep this show going on the air, please go to zanna.us, ZANNA.us. You know what I do for a living, at least one of the things I do. I write songs. You can download any of my songs for just 99 cents. I appreciate your help. God's willing, I'll talk to you next Sunday. Thank you.